Chapter 1534. Chapter 1533. Pushing too far? Yes, Sectmaster. Linny nodded. Sectmaster, please give me a fire spirit's fruit, and I'll find a third-level refiner for you within 2 years. Why should I believe you? The Sectmaster asked faintly. You're a lone practitioner without a house or sect. Why should I believe that you can find a third-level refiner in 2 years? Lone practitioners aren't necessarily weaker than houses or sects. Zhang Nai Peo and Feng Nitian, they're both from the ancient times. Didn't they lose to me as well? With that, Linny puffed up his chest proudly. I wonder if you've heard of this saying before, Sectmaster? A hero doesn't need to be afraid of a weak background. As long as you're ambitious, you can be proud no matter where you go. Linny, maybe a lone practitioner, but how do you know that I won't have a house or a sect one day? All right. The Sectmaster didn't say anything after hearing Lin Yi's words, but Qing couldn't help but slap the table. Well said. A hero doesn't need a background. A lone practitioner at this age, the strongest under the earth class. You say you can create a house or a sect in the future. I'll believe you. Anyone can talk empty words. Why should I believe you? The Sectmaster wasn't as emotional as Qing. However, she only looked at Lin Yi and asked calmly, have you seen a refiner before? Do you know one? Where are you going to find one for me in 2 years? Linny couldn't help but smile bitterly. Lin, he didn't know how to answer the Sectmaster's question. Lin, he didn't know how to explain. Was Lin he supposed to tell her that he wanted to become a refiner? But he wouldn't be able to get past the Sectmaster if he didn't answer or just brush her off. He could tell that the Sectmaster was young, but very shrewd. It wasn't very likely that he'd be able to trick her with some random story. Actually, I'm learning alchemy. 2 years later, I'll definitely become a third-grade alchemist or above. Linny sighed and decided to tell the truth. That was the only way he could convince the Sectmaster. You? Learn alchemy? The Sectmaster's eyes widened, as if she had just heard the funniest joke in the world. Even her usually cold face had a look of shock on it, because Lin Yi's answer really left her speechless. The Sectmaster didn't know how to describe the person in front of her. Was he overly arrogant or overly confident, or was he simply lying to her? Yes, Lin Yi nodded solemnly. Are you trying to make fun of me? The Sectmaster couldn't help but frown at the decision. She didn't know what to say to the person in front of her. It's good to have ambition, but overconfidence is arrogance. Do you think that before alchemists become alchemists, they aren't normal practitioners? Lin Yi asked. It's not that I'm underestimating you, but I find it hard to believe what you're saying. The Sectmaster said faintly, there are far too many people who want to become alchemists, but those who actually become alchemists are few and far between. Lin Yi reached out his hand, and a ball of fire appeared in it. Sometimes, facts speak louder than words. Lin Yi had to show her what he was capable of to convince her. What do you think now? Fire? You've already formed a physical fire? Little Qing was a little surprised. Although people who could condense their pill fire might not necessarily become alchemists, and many people gave up halfway, all alchemists started from condensing their pill fire. The Sectmaster raised an eyebrow, clearly a little surprised, but her expression didn't change much. Condensing a refinement fire is the first step to becoming a master of refining. But a master of refining requires talent. Being able to condense a refinement fire doesn't necessarily mean you can become a master of refining. Too many alchemists give up halfway. The Sectmaster's words struck at Lin Yi's lifeline. Lin Yi didn't want to admit it, but he had to admit that the Sectmaster was very strong. She was young, but a Sky-class master's knowledge was truly different. It could be said that Lin Yi had just entered the doorstep of being an alchemist, but his control over fire was still stagnant. If he didn't make any progress, then Lin Yi would be like those alchemists who gave up halfway. If he couldn't raise the temperature of his fire, then he would be useless. The fire in his hand would only be a plaything, and it would be useless for alchemy. I will work hard. Lin Yi could only say that. I'll believe you this once, and give you a fire spirit's fruit. Within 2 years, if you become a third-realm alchemist or above, then you will be an eternal ally of the Ice Palace. Otherwise, we will be enemies. Think about the consequences of lying to the Ice Palace. The Sectmaster's so-called trust in Lin This once was just to give face to Aunt Ching. At least she couldn't believe that he could become a third realm alchemist in 2 years. Even if he was a genius at alchemy and had started learning from a young age, it would still take him tens of years to become a third realm alchemist. How could someone who had just learned alchemy become a third realm alchemist in 2 years? If alchemy was that easy to train, then it would have been a profession long ago. In the Sky Elixir House, the young headmaster was already 20 years old and was only a second realm alchemist. He hadn't even broken through to the third realm yet. Even in a family of alchemists like this, it was impossible to level up so quickly, let alone a lone cultivator like Lin Yi. Therefore, the sect master didn't believe that Lin Yi could become a third realm alchemist or above. She was only saying this to save face for the Ice Palace and to give face to Aunt Ching. "Can I have 2? Lin Yi asked weakly. "Huh?" The sect master thought she heard wrongly and gasped. Although she usually pretended to be very serious, she was just a teenage girl. She really couldn't imagine how this person in front of her could be so thick-skinned. She had agreed to give him 1 fruit because of Aunt Ching. She had made up her mind, and he was shameless enough to ask for 2? What's wrong? He felt that his request was a bit overboard, but he had to try. Since he was here, he couldn't just save Xiao Xiao, right? His future mother-in-law was still waiting for treatment. What do you think the fire spirit's fruit is? Like the dragon fruit, something that can be sold everywhere? The sect master couldn't hold back her dissatisfaction anymore. "Giving you 1 is already good enough. How many more do you want?" Chapter 1535. A rare sight, ugh. Linny was just asking. It was already hard enough to get 1 fruit, and asking for a second one from the Ice Palace wasn't just being shameless anymore. It was just forcing them to do something they didn't want to do. "Plus, even if it's just this one, I'll have to ask." The sect master said, "You said that you're using the fruit to treat your girlfriend, but from what I know, it's not considered a herb, right? How are you going to treat your girlfriend with it?" "My girlfriend has a cold energy in her body, or in layman's terms, it's frost poison," Linny said. "She needs to use the fruit to suppress the cold energy, otherwise her life will be in danger." "Cold energy? Frost poison?" The sect master frowned. The frost poison was something that only existed in legends, and no one had ever heard of anyone getting it in real life. Of course, normal people often referred to it as getting a cold, but it wasn't actually a frost poison. "Yes," Lin Yi nodded. "I've looked through some ancient texts, and there's a way to treat the frost poison. It's to use the fruit. Let me take a look at your girlfriend." The sect master nodded, but she still had to confirm it. She wasn't just responsible for the Ice Palace, but also for Aunt Ching. What if she gave the fruit to a scammer out of kindness? She'd probably blame herself. "That's fine." Linny sighed but still nodded. His instincts told him that the sect master wouldn't do anything to harm Xiao Xiao, since he was like an ant in front of her. If the sect master really wanted to do something to him, Lin Yi knew that he wouldn't be able to run away. The difference in strength between the two was too big, and they weren't even on the same level. And so, even if the sect master wanted to harm Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to stop her. And so, Lin Yi agreed very generously and put Xiao Xiao in his arms, signaling the sect master to check on her. The sect master nodded and put her hand on the meridians in Xiao Xiao's arm. The sect master wasn't a doctor, but a sky class was knowledgeable, and she could sense some common illnesses, let alone something like frost poison. If it really did exist, then Xiao Xiao's condition would be different from normal people. Using the fire spirit's fruit to treat frost poison, that's quite strange. The sect master only said half of the sentence before a look of disbelief appeared on her face. She was originally sitting on the chair, but at this moment, she jumped up and stared at Lin Yi, agitated. You're saying that she's poisoned with the cold poison? Isn't that so?" Lin Yi was a little confused as to why the sect master would have such a big reaction. The sect master wanted to say frost poison his ass, but didn't think it was very polite. Plus, she couldn't be bothered to argue with Lin Yi anymore. She put her hand on Xiao Xiao's meridians and started checking them carefully. "Sect master, Ching was a little curious about what the sect master was doing. "Aunt Ching, you're quite knowledgeable. Let me take a look as well. This girl's constitution. It's very similar to the ice heart jade bone that Master talked about, but it's not quite the same. The frost energy in her body seems to be purer. The sect master said excitedly. Could it be what? Qing's face froze after hearing the sect master's words, and she quickly grabbed Xiao Xiao's wrist, a look of shock on her face as well. SSSS. Qing took in cold breath. It's not the ice hard jade bone. It definitely isn't. Sect master, you mean the legendary frost body? This actually exists. The sect master was shocked as well. This type of constitution hasn't appeared in 1,000 years. Yeah, the legends say that the founder had this type, but it's been so hard to find someone with the ice hard jade bone. Our ice palace and snowy valley have been looking for someone with it, but we didn't think that. Qing was getting more and more excited. It really is the extreme, cold energy. The two's conversation confused Lin Yi. He didn't know what these two were trying to do. Did they not want to give him the fire spirit's fruit? Or did they have other intentions? But Lin Yi didn't say anything to disturb them. If the two had other intentions, they'd definitely ask him. You want to give her the fruit? As expected, the sect master looked up at Lin Yi after checking Xiao Xiao. Yeah, what's wrong with that? Lin Yi asked. That's a waste. The sect leader said, she has a rare, Yin physique. You gave her the fire spirit fruit. And while it can suppress the Yin Qi inside her, have you thought about the consequences of that? She's not a practitioner, and her body might be fine in the beginning, but as time goes on, her body will get weaker and weaker. Also, the fire spirit's fruit suppression is only temporary. It's not permanent. Lin was a bit surprised. He knew what Xiao Xiao's body was like. Naturally, he'd thought that it was a hereditary disease, but it turned out to be a rare cold body. And it seemed like this was very important to the Ice Palace. The reason why the fire spirit's fruit is so precious to the Ice Palace is because when we train with it, there's a chance that we might go crazy. The fruit can suppress the cold qi in our bodies, allowing us to slowly refine it. The sect master said. Then, Lin Yi frowned, not sure what the sect master was trying to say. It seemed like things were changing. She's your girlfriend? The sect master suddenly remembered something important. Yes. Lin Yi was confused, but he nodded. Then she's lost her virginity? The sect master glared at Lin Yi, as if she had a deep grudge against Lin Yi. Lin Yi shuddered involuntarily. No. Lin Yi shook his head. That's good. The sect master let out a breath of relief after hearing Lin Yi's words. That's good. That's really good. What's good? Lin Yi asked. But the sect master didn't answer Lin Yi. She picked up Xiao Xiao all of a sudden. Aunt Qing, let's go back first. I'm going to ask the Elders' Council to test her physique right away. What are you doing? Lin Yi was shocked to see the sect master pick Xiao Xiao up. But the sect master was simply too fast, and Lin Yi didn't even have time to react before Xiao Xiao was in her hands. Chapter 1536. Stop them. The sect master ignored Lin Yi and turned to leave with Xiao Xiao in her arms, leaving the room in the blink of an eye. Lin Yi didn't even think about it, running out of the room on instinct. But a sky class was already very fast, and Lin Yi couldn't catch up no matter how hard he tried. Let go of my girlfriend. Lin Yi was really panicking now. He didn't care that this was a sky class anymore, roaring at the sect master. Lin Yi couldn't be blamed for panicking. Both the sect master and Qing were looking at Xiao Xiao as if she was a treasure, and Lin Yi was really worried that they'd do something to her. They were talking about inheritances and whatnot, and it made Lin Yi even more confused. Lin Yi was worried that this ice palace had some sort of tradition, wanting to use Xiao Xiao for some sort of ritual. How could Lin Yi let them take her away? Plus, the question the sect master asked made Lin Yi even more uncertain. If they didn't have any ulterior motives, why would they ask about Xiao Xiao's virginity? Lin Yi really didn't understand why the Ice Palace would ask this question, but the legend said that they used virgin boys and girls for rituals. That wasn't uncommon. Seeing that the sect master was ignoring him, Lin Yi mustered all the strength he had in his body to compress an energy bomb and throw it at the sect master's direction. Lin Yi was lucky, but Lin Yi's energy bomb didn't have that much energy in it, so Lin Yi wasn't worried about accidentally injuring Xiao Xiao. But the sect master didn't even turn her head at Lin Yi's attack. dodging it with a slight movement. The energy bomb landed on the walls of the ice palace, blasting a huge hole in the wall. The next moment, the sect master stopped in her tracks, her eyes full of shock as she looked at the wall Lin Yi had destroyed. She turned to look at Lin Yi. "How did you do that?" This was the first time the sect master looked at Lin Yi. She'd never looked at Lin Yi before. A mystic, even the #1 mystic, was nothing in the eyes of Sky Class, especially a Sky Class late-phase peak like the sect master. And so, in her excitement, she picked up Xiao Xiao and left, not putting Lin Yi in her eyes at all. She couldn't be bothered to talk to him. But Lin Yi's move reminded her of when he fought Zhang Naipeo and Feng Netian. "You used compressed chi just now. Where are you taking my girlfriend?" Lin Yi didn't know if the sect master would be mad at him for using that energy bomb, but Lin Yi puffed up his chest and asked, "I don't need the fruit. I can wake her up." The sect master said, "When she wakes up, I'll bring her to see you." "I see." Lin Yi breathed out in relief. If the sect master said so, then it had to be true. With the sect master's strength, there was no way she'd be scared of him even if he had an energy bomb. With how strong the sect master was, there was no need for her to lie to him. "The chi in your body can't be used up." The sect master frowned as she looked at Lin Yi, confused. "I have my own way of training," Lin Yi said. The sect master nodded. Since Lin Yi didn't want to talk about it, she didn't ask anymore. Everyone's arts were secret, just like how the Ice Palace wouldn't just give it to strangers. At this time, little Qing also walked over. The crater on the Ice Palace's walls had shocked her quite a bit. "Don't worry, the sect master can wake her up." Qing gave Lin Yi a comforting look. "The inner sect forbids men from entering. That's the rule of the Ice Palace." "I see." Lin Yi nodded. "All right then, senior sect master. I'll wait here." "Thank you." Since they said they could wake Xiao Xiao up, it didn't matter what their intentions were. Lin Yi had to thank them. The sect master and Qing floated away, and Lin Yi looked at their backs worriedly, but there was nothing he could do. "Sect master, she's Lin Yi's girlfriend after all." Qing smiled bitterly. "Aunt Qing, I'm just worried." There was no way the sect master would admit that she was looking down on Lin Yi. But that Lin Yi does have some tricks up his sleeves, being able to compress chi like that, killing 1,000 enemies and hurting 800 of himself. It seems like killing 1,000 enemies and not hurting himself. I told you, he's a freelancer, different from the others. If we can make friends with him, we shouldn't be enemies. Qing said, "Enemies are out of the question. His girlfriend will become the inheritor of our Ice Palace, and once she accepts the legacy, I'll step down and join the Elder Council." The sect master said, "It really is a cold, constitution. If she really can accept the legacy, it'll be a great fortune for our Ice Palace. We've finally found the inheritor we've been missing for a long time." Qing nodded. "Yeah, it's only a few years until the Sky Class meeting. I didn't think we'd find an inheritor before then." The sect master said, "It's lucky that Lin Yi came to our Ice Palace to find the Fire Spirit's fruit. If he came to Snow Valley to find the Ice Spirit's fruit, he'd be their inheritor." The Ice Palace and the Snow Valley both practiced ice attribute mental cultivation techniques, so the requirements for the cultivators were very similar. The Ice Heart and Jade Bone Constitution was the most suitable for cultivation, but the two ancient sects happened to be two of the four great sects that had opened the Heavenly Great Island. It was even more difficult for two sects to find inheritors with the same constitution. Who knew how jealous Snow Valley would be when they heard that the Ice Palace had found an inheritor with a coldine constitution? As they spoke, the two of them arrived at the Ice Palace's Elder Council's Elder Hall. "All elders, come out and see the Palace Master. The Palace Master has something important to announce to everyone." Little Qing shouted towards the elders' courtyard. Most families or sects, when the sect master went to the Elder Council to discuss matters, they would be very respectful. There weren't many elders that would come out to see the sect master, and this was enough to show the sect master and Qing's position in the Ice Palace. "Greetings, sect master." The one who spoke was the first elder of the Ice Palace, also a Sky Class late phase peak. But in front of the sect master, he didn't show any disrespect. The two were of the same level, But no matter what, the sect master was still the sect master, so it was normal for her to greet her. The Great Elder walked out with 4 elders. These 4 were all Heaven Realm experts. Although 2 of them were only Heaven Realm initial stage, 2 were Heaven Realm middle stage, and none of them were Heaven Realm late stage. However, this kind of lineup was still top-notch in the ancient sects. Chapter 1537. Chapter 1536, Xiao Xiao Awakens, a sect with 7 Sky-class masters, 2 of whom were Sky-class late phase peak. This was a reason why the Ice Palace was so strong. Grand Elder, take a look at this girl. The sect master nodded to the elder and lifted Xiao Xiao up from her arms. Oh, First Elder didn't know what the sect master wanted, but he did as he was told and looked at Xiao Xiao carefully. There was nothing wrong with her, sect master. What do you mean? Check her constitution. The sect master didn't know whether to laugh or cry when she saw that First Elder didn't understand her intentions. Grand Elder heard the sect master's words and quickly reached out to grab Xiao Xiao's meridians. A moment later, he cried out in shock. Colding body? Is it really a colding body? It's the legendary colding body. It's exactly the same as the records left behind by the elders. What colding body? The other elders' eyes widened upon hearing Grand Elder's words as well, eager to check Xiao Xiao's constitution. That's right, it's a colding body. The sect master nodded. First Elder, what do you think? Sect master, this is the spirit of the elders. The heavens have blessed our ice palace. A colding body is even more suitable for our arts than an ice-hard jade bones. Our elders are different from Snowy Valley's elders. Snowy Valley's elders had an ice-hard jade bones, so their arts were created especially for ice-hard jade bones. The elders said. Our elders, on the other hand, had a colding body, and our arts were the most suitable for that as well. It's just that a colding body never appeared again, and so no one has trained their arts to the extreme. Right now, this girl doesn't know how to guide the colding energy in her body, to the extent that the colding energy seeped in her heart and spleen, causing her to fall unconscious. The palace lord said, Great Elder, you and I will first work together to suppress the colding energy in her body. When she wakes up, I will prepare to officially accept her as a disciple on behalf of my master, and accept her as my junior sister. All right, Grand Elder nodded solemnly. Naturally, she knew how important Xiao Xiao was to the Ice Palace, and so she agreed without hesitation. Suppressing the cold energy in her body required quite a bit of qi, and even a Sky-class late-phase peak would need some time to fully recover. However, the good thing was that he was working with the Ice Palace Master. The 2 of them were at the peak late phase of the Heaven Realm, so it wouldn't be too strenuous. Other elders, protect me and the First Elder. With that, the sect master placed Xiao Xiao on the ground. Everyone, line up, Xiao Qing said to the crowd. The Ice Palace Master and Grand Elder, on the other hand, held onto the meridians of Xiao Xiao's arms, channeling the arts of the Ice Palace. All of a sudden, a wave of cold energy exploded between the 2. We'll first force the cold energy out of her body, then suppress the cold energy in her body, the Ice Palace Master said. The Great Elder nodded, and the 2 of them tacitly began this difficult task together. In an instant, Xiao Xiao, who was on the ground, started emitting a cold aura. Not long after, a layer of ice crystals started forming on the surface of her body, and, as time went on, the ice crystals grew thicker and thicker until it became a thick layer. All right, Grand Elder said to the Ice Palace Master, now, we'll work together to suppress the cold energy in her body. The sect master nodded, and a layer of mist appeared on their palms, covering Xiao Xiao's meridians. This place was unusually cold, but both the sect master and elder's foreheads were soon dripping with sweat. This wasn't an easy task. It was clear that this wasn't an easy task. This process lasted for around half an hour, and the sect master and elder let out a long breath. It seemed that they had temporarily suppressed the cold energy in Xiao Xiao's body. Aunt Qing, carry her to the room to rest. I need to rest as well. The Ice Palace Master wiped the sweat off her forehead. Yes, Palace Master. Qing carried Xiao Xiao and walked to the guest room. Lin Yi, on the other hand, was pacing back and forth in front of the ice palace, anxiously. The wall in front of him blocked his vision completely, and Lin Yi had no idea what was going on inside. He hadn't been this nervous in the 15 days he'd been waiting in front of the ice palace. Qing carried Xiao Xiao to the bed in the guest room, staying by her side the entire time. After a while, the ice on Xiao Xiao slowly melted under the room's temperature, and when it was all water, Xiao Xiao slowly woke up. "Linny, honey, did you save me again?" Xiao Xiao's first sentence after waking up was subconsciously, but when she saw the situation in front of her, she froze. This was a place she'd never seen before, and the woman in front of her was someone she didn't know. Xiao Xiao became alert as she looked at the unfamiliar woman. She wanted to get up, but realized that she didn't have any strength left in her body. "You're awake?" Qing couldn't help but smile when she saw that the first thing Xiao Xiao did was look for Lin Yi. It seemed that this couple was quite close. Where am I?" "You. Who are you?" Xiao Xiao looked at Qing. "This is the Ice Palace. Your boyfriend Lin Yi brought you here to ask for the Fire Spirit's fruit. The Palace Master and Elders saved you," Qing explained. "Ice Palace? Then, where's Lin Yi? Did you guys feed me the fruit?" Xiao Xiao looked around, not seeing Lin Yi anywhere. Something wasn't right. "No, it was the Palace Master and Grand Elder who temporarily suppressed the energy within your body," said Xiao Qing. Xiao Xiao was about to say something when a voice came from the door. "Aunt Qing, she's awake." "Palace Master, she's awake," Qing said quickly. "Aunt Qing, there's no outsider here. No need to stand on ceremony," the Palace Master said before turning to Xiao Xiao. "What's your name? Who are you?" Xiao Xiao looked at the Palace Master warily. This was a very pretty and classy girl, but Xiao Xiao didn't care if she was pretty or not. She just wanted to see Lin Yi. "Where's my Linny honey?" Chapter 1538. No response, you saved me? Thank you. My name is Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao was someone who knew what was good and bad. She knew from Qing that it was the sect master who saved her. But wasn't this sect master a little too young? Was she the same age as her? "Xiao Xiao, I'd like to take you in as a disciple on behalf of my master. You can join the Ice Palace and learn our arts." The sect master said, "What do you think?" Xiao Xiao froze. This was too sudden, and she wasn't prepared at all. She didn't know what was going on. Why did the Ice Palace want her to join all of a sudden? The Ice Palace Master thought that Xiao Xiao was too excited after hearing the news. Ice Palace was an ancient sect, after all, and there were countless people fighting for these 10 spots just for the outer disciple spot. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, not only could become an inner disciple, but she was also the sect master's junior sister. She was practically the next sect master. Why do I want to join the Ice Palace? Where's Linny honey? I want to see him." Xiao Xiao was a little lost, not knowing why the Ice Palace was making this request all of a sudden. Xiao Xiao's reply made both the Ice Palace Master and Qing pause. From what Xiao Xiao said, it seemed like she didn't want to join the Ice Palace. Could it be that it was their own wishful thinking? "Xiao Xiao, do you know your situation?" The sect master said, disappointed. "You have a rare, cold constitution, one that's only seen once in 1,000 years. This constitution was born to train in the Ice Palace arts. Under the guidance of the Ice Palace's mental cultivation method, the cold qi in your body will all transform into your own true qi. It will bring unimaginable benefits to the increase of your cultivation speed. As long as you accept the heritage of Ice Mountain, you'll be the next Ice Palace Master." Xiao Xiao was shocked by the sect master's words as well. She didn't think that she'd be able to train as well, and it seemed like she was a rare prodigy, someone who could even become the sect master. And so, she couldn't help but ask subconsciously, then, "Can I become a mystic too?" "Mystic?" The sect master paused and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Your future achievements will definitely surpass mine. I'm currently at the peak late phase of heaven class." "Heaven rank? Peak late phase?" Xiao Xiao's eyes widened in shock. Because of her relationship with her father and Lin Yi, she knew a lot more about practitioners. But mystic was rare even in the common world, the Ice Palace Master was a sky class, and at the very top. From what she said, she could also become a heaven stage expert. That's right. Moreover, you might even surpass the heaven realm. The sect master said. Xiao Xiao hesitated. I'll ask Linny Honey. If he wants me to stay, then I'll stay. It's your own business. Why are you asking him? The Ice Palace Master was furious after hearing Xiao Xiao's words. She was really afraid that Lin Yi wouldn't agree after Xiao Xiao asked. That'd be troublesome. Looking at Xiao Xiao like this, she wouldn't focus on her training even if she forced her to stay if Lin Yi didn't agree. I want to see him. Xiao Xiao didn't care what the Ice Palace Master said, insisting. Don't you know that the cold energy in your body is only temporarily suppressed? If you go back, you won't be able to live. The Ice Palace Master didn't know what to say anymore. Do you agree or not? I want to ask Linny Honey. Xiao Xiao said. The Ice Palace Master was speechless. She patted her forehead and said helplessly, Aunt Qing, bring Linny in. But I thought men weren't allowed in the inner sect. Qing paused. He's not an outsider. He's the husband of the next Ice Palace Master. The Ice Palace Master shook her head, laughing at herself. Okay. Little Qing answered and left the room. Xiao Xiao let out a breath of relief when she heard the Ice Palace Master ask Qing to bring Lin Yi. The Ice Palace Master told Qing that Lin Yi was fine and waiting outside, but Xiao Xiao didn't really believe it. After all, everyone here was a stranger. They were all around her when she woke up, and logically speaking, they should be her saviors. But Lin Yi wasn't here, and Xiao Xiao still felt uneasy. Don't worry, he's fine. Number 1 under Earth class. He's not simple. The Ice Palace Master was getting a headache. This Xiao Xiao seemed to listen to Lin Yi a lot. Even someone like her, who wasn't good at flattering people, had to say a few good things to Xiao Xiao. Things had deviated from what she expected, and as far as the Ice Palace Master was concerned, she thought that as long as Xiao Xiao woke up, she'd be happy to accept the offer on behalf of her master. She didn't believe that anyone would reject such a generous offer. But Xiao Xiao didn't seem to feel anything after hearing it, as if joining the Ice Palace wasn't that big of a deal at all. She even wanted to ask Lin Yi to make the decision. This was driving the Ice Palace Master crazy. In order to get Xiao Xiao to join the Ice Palace, the Ice Palace Master had no choice but to force herself to praise Lin Yi in front of Xiao Xiao to leave a good impression. If she really didn't join the Ice Palace, it'd be a huge loss for the Ice Palace. It was true that becoming an inner disciple of the Ice Palace was a very difficult thing for normal practitioners. But at the same time, it was extremely difficult for the Ice Palace to find a suitable disciple with good potential. This was why the Ice Palace Master and Qing had been searching for someone with ice heart all these years to no avail, and Xiao Xiao just so happened to be the one the Ice Palace was looking for. Xiao Xiao's potential even exceeded their estimations. There was no way they'd let her go. The Ice Palace may be strong, but if they wanted Xiao Xiao to stay here to train, accept the legacy, and even open Sky Class Island, they had to be willing. Otherwise, the Ice Palace wouldn't be able to force her. They couldn't just kill her, could they? Number 1 under Earth class? What do you mean? Xiao Xiao's interest was piqued when she heard about Lin Yi. The Ice Palace Master wasn't someone who liked to gossip, but now that Xiao Xiao asked, she had to patiently tell Xiao Xiao about Lin Yi's trial and how he got the medicine for her, in order to build a good relationship with her future junior sister. Xiao Xiao was mesmerized by the story, hearing how Lin Yi carried her on his back and stood in front of the Ice Palace for 15 days and nights, not resting or eating anything. She couldn't hold back her tears. Linny Honey is so good to me. Chapter 1539. Chapter 1538. Persuasion. First, truth be told, Xiao Xiao and Lin Yi's relationship was too much of a joke at first, but the two really fell in love later on. Xiao Xiao didn't expect that Lin Yi would cross mountains and rivers to come to the extreme north for her, to participate in this dangerous Ice Palace test. Xiao Xiao's heart pounded when she heard how Lin Yi fought Nai Peo and Nitian, even though she knew that Lin Yi had won for sure. Otherwise, how could Lin Yi be called the number 1 under Earth class? But Xiao Xiao still couldn't help but be a little nervous. She wanted to know how Lin Yi had dealt with these two masters from the ancient houses and sects. That's why I say, you should cherish this kind of boyfriend. And the first thing you need to do is to become a cultivator and dispel the yin qi in your body. Otherwise, you won't even have your life. How are you going to spend the rest of your life with him? The sect master said very awkwardly. She'd never persuaded anyone before, but she had no choice but to slowly convince Xiao Xiao to join the Ice Palace now. I'll have to ask Lin Yi honey first. Xiao Xiao insisted. You? The sect master rolled her eyes, helpless. Think about it. He's a practitioner, you're not. His ultimate goal is to break through Sky Class and step into Sky Class. If you were a normal person, you'd only have a few decades to live, but a Sky Class has a really long lifespan. What would he do if you died? Oh, Xiao Xiao said. You agree? The Ice Palace Master was overjoyed at Xiao Xiao's answer. No, Xiao Xiao said. Other than Lin Yi's words, she didn't really trust anyone else's words. This sect master looked pretty passionate, but who knew what she was planning? She had to have some ulterior motives. Xiao Xiao didn't believe that the Ice Palace was so poor that they couldn't even get a disciple. If it was really like what the sect leader had said before, passing through an extremely difficult trial to become an outer sect disciple was enough to make all the families and sects scramble for it, then wouldn't the Ice Palace be fighting to get an inner sect disciple? Why did they have to pick her as a patient? Fine, even if she had a cold body. It didn't have to do this, did they? It didn't really matter if she joined the Ice Palace or not. They had so many Sky Class Masters already. Why would they need her? And so Xiao Xiao just kept saying oh and oh, not promising anything. The sect master didn't know what to say. It seemed like she could only talk to Lin Yi. She hoped that Lin Yi was an open-minded person. Lin Yi was anxiously waiting for Xiao Xiao's news when a green figure floated over. Lin Yi quickly went up and cupped his fists. Senior, my girlfriend Xiao Xiao. She's awake, come with me. Qing nodded to Lin Yi. She's awake? That's great. Lin Yi was comforted to hear that Xiao Xiao was awake. He quickly caught up to Qing. I thought the Ice Palace forbade men from entering. You're an exception, Qing said. Me? Exception? Lin Yi blinked, not understanding why he was an exception. He wasn't an exception before, but now? All the husbands of the Ice Palace Master are allowed to enter the inner hall. Qing said. Huh? Lin Yi's eyes went wide. Husband of the Ice Palace Master? What does that mean? Lin Yi jumped in fright. Could it be that the Ice Palace Master, that cold girl, had fallen for him? She wanted him to marry into her family? Lin Yi sweated. That girl was pretty, but she was a little cold. Plus, it wasn't easy to be a husband who married into someone else's family. Lin Yi didn't want the rest of his life to end here. Qing paused at the shocked look on Lin Yi's face, but quickly understood that Lin Yi had misunderstood her. She quickly explained, Xiao Xiao's body is a rare yin cold body, the best body for practicing our Ice Palace arts. So, the sect master wants to take her in as a disciple on behalf of her master, officially taking her in as her junior. She'll stay in the Ice Palace and continue practicing. Oh, Lin Yi frowned after hearing Qing's words. You guys want to take Xiao Xiao as an inner disciple. Not just an inner disciple, but also the next Ice Palace Master. Qing said, her body is even more suitable for practicing our Ice Palace arts than the sect masters, and she can directly receive the Ice Mountain's legacy. In other words, there won't be any barriers for us to break through, and she'll be able to reach Sky Class. What? Qing's words shocked Lin, even though he was experienced and knowledgeable. Without any barriers, she could reach Sky Class in one go. What kind of existence was that? It was even more amazing than having a cheat code. But Lin Yi calmed down quickly. Lin Yi knew what kind of existence the Ice Palace was. Even if Xiao Xiao's talent was insane, there was no reason for them to give her something like this, was there? If it was just letting Xiao Xiao train here and get rid of the cold qi in her body, Lin Yi would believe it. But letting Xiao Xiao receive some sort of legacy and become the Ice Palace Master? This didn't make sense to Lin Yi. Lin Yi didn't know what the Ice Palace legacy was, but he had heard of similar legacies. It was said that each generation's legacy could only be passed down to one person, and some special ones could only be passed down to 2 people at most. The opportunity to receive the legacy was very important. Even if Xiao Xiao's talent was good, the Ice Palace couldn't just randomly pick someone to receive the legacy. Could they? Why her? Linny asked. I've already said that she has a rare physique that is hard to come by in 1,000 years. I won't hide it from you. But the Ice Palace Master failed when she accepted the inheritance. The inheritance has a strict requirement for the inheritor's physique, and the Ice Palace Master only has a fake ice hard jade bone physique, not a pure one. Qing explained, this type of body isn't very pure. It needs to be refined with an ice heart pill in order to create a true ice heart. This is also the reason why we said that we need to find a 3rd-grade pill refiner and above. That ice heart pill is a 3rd-level pill. Lin Yi realized why refiners were so important to the Ice Palace. Yes, Qing nodded, but even though it's a 3rd-level pill, it's extremely difficult to make. Even a 4th-level refiner might not be able to make it. Chapter 1540, Persuasion, Part 2. This elixir has very strict requirements for controlling the fire. It also restricts the alchemist to have a fire attribute elixir fire as the main elixir fire and an ice attribute elixir fire as a supplement. However, ice and fire are incompatible. If a fire attribute alchemist wants to cultivate an ice attribute elixir fire, it is very difficult. And to raise the ice-type pill fire to the same level as the fire-type pill fire is as difficult as ascending to the heavens. I see. It seems like not only do I have to work hard to become a 3rd-level alchemist, I also have to train in the ice heart pill. Linny couldn't help but smile bitterly. There's no need for that. With Xiao Xiao in the Ice Palace, the sect master doesn't need to use the ice heart pill anymore. One inheritor is enough. Qing said, you don't have to worry too much about it. Just let Xiao Xiao join the Ice Palace. Wait. Lin Yi felt that something wasn't right, and asked Qing seriously, Senior, if I may ask, what are the benefits of being the inheritor of the Ice Palace? Why is one inheritor enough? Does the sect master not want to be an inheritor? That. Qing didn't think that her words of comfort to Lin Yi would connect so many things, and it seemed like Lin Yi was starting to get suspicious. But she couldn't tell Lin Yi about inheritors, so she said, the sect master naturally wants to be an inheritor, but because of her body, she can't accept the inheritance of the Ice Mountain. So while we're looking for someone else, we're also looking for alchemists. This is just a backup plan. As for becoming an inheritor, apart from making the path of cultivation easier and faster, they would also have an advantage over ordinary heaven rank experts when breaking through to the heaven rank. It would be easier for them to break through the barrier and enter the heaven Dao. Then you haven't found anyone with a cold body yet? Linny felt like something wasn't right, but he couldn't put his finger on it. Not only did I not find anyone with the cold body, I did not even see anyone with the icy hard jade bone physique. Little Qing smiled bitterly and said, usually this kind of physique is hereditary in nature. Some are inherited from one generation to the next, and some are inherited only a few generations apart. If these families don't have cultivators, or don't have cultivators who know about ice mental cultivation methods, then they won't be able to discover these abnormalities. We can't go and find people to screen them one by one, can we? I see. Then what's with the Ice Palace Master's fake ice hard jade bones? Linny asked. The fake icy hard jade bone is actually not completely inherited, only a part of it. Little Qing said, therefore this type of physique must be refined with heavenly treasures to supplement and refine it. Only then can it display the same effect as the icy hard jade bone physique. Then, if it's hereditary, why didn't you go to the Ice Palace Master's family and see if there's anyone else with this body type? Lin, he had to keep asking questions to figure out the Ice Palace's true intentions. The Ice Palace Master is an abandoned baby. What family does she have? Little Qing smiled bitterly. We wanted to look for her, but there's a sea of people out there. Where would we go? I see. Linny nodded. He didn't expect the sect master to have such a pitiful life. That's it, Little Qing said, and Xiao Xiao's body type is even more special than the ice hard jade bone. There's a large amount of cold energy in her body, so much so that it's almost unbelievable. At her age, she already possesses so much cold chi. If she can refine this cold chi, her future will be limitless. What happens if I don't let her join the Ice Palace? Linny asked. That'd be harming her. The cold energy in her body is suppressed by the Ice Palace Master and Elder, but it won't last long. Little Ching said, once the cold energy breaks free again and invades her heart and spleen, she will fall unconscious again. Then what about the fire spirit's fruit? Lin Yi asked. It's only temporary. Little Ching said, if the Yin spirit chi in her body was not this much, she would be able to suppress it for a few decades after taking the fire spirit's fruit. But the Yin spirit chi in her body is too much, is almost equivalent to the amount of innate chi in a heaven stage expert's body. Even if she took the fire spirit's fruit, she would still be unconscious after a year. Lin Yi's eyes went wide, feeling regret and self-blame. Xiao Xiao didn't have that much cold energy in her body, but after that, he'd given her chi a couple times, and all the chi that was absorbed by her got swallowed up by the cold energy in her body, making it stronger and stronger. If it weren't for Lin Yi's chi, perhaps the fruit would be able to suppress the cold energy for many years, but now. Then, what if I don't accept the inheritance and just let her train in the Ice Palace? Lin Yi felt that there was a hint of a conspiracy behind the inheritance, and it made Lin Yi feel uneasy. The training speed won't be faster than the inheritance. Moreover, what our Ice Palace needs is a successor. Little Ching said. Ching's words made Lin Yi's heart tighten. It seemed that there was a problem with this inheritor. Otherwise, if the Ice Palace really wanted Xiao Xiao's amazing body, then she could train however she wanted. Why did they have to make her an inheritor? Instinctively, Lin Yi felt that Ching was hiding something from him. But evidently, Ching didn't want to talk about it. She was avoiding the topic, and Lin Yi couldn't ask her directly. After all, Ching had been helping him from the shadows the whole time, and Lin Yi was very grateful for that. Lin Yi didn't want to break up this relationship. He knew that Ching would tell him everything she could, but there were some things she couldn't tell him. There was no need for Lin Yi to force her to explain. If that was the case, then Lin Yi would just ask the sect head. If she couldn't give him a satisfactory answer, then Lin Yi wouldn't let Xiao Xiao accept the inheritance easily. I understand. Let me see Xiao Xiao first. Lin Yi nodded. Of course. With that, Ching brought Lin Yi to the courtyard of the guest room. She said to Lin Yi, it's inside, the sect master is here too. Lin Yi followed Ching into the guest room, and as expected, Xiao Xiao was in high spirits, talking to the Ice Palace Master about something. The Ice Palace Master, on the other hand, had a helpless look on her face as she sat beside Xiao Xiao, nodding her head occasionally. Chapter 1541. The sect master felt a bit helpless. At the very beginning, she was the one trying to convince Xiao Xiao to join the Ice Palace, but in order to find common topics, she couldn't help but talk about Lin Yi a bit more. But after she finished talking about Lin Yi's performance in the test, Xiao Xiao started talking about other things about Lin Yi. The sect master had no choice but to listen to Xiao Xiao's story with Lin Yi. It was touching, but the sect master wasn't thinking about that at all. She was thinking about how to keep Xiao Xiao here. Xiao Xiao, you're really awake. Lin Yi was very happy to see the energetic Xiao Xiao. Percent net. Wah. Lin Yi honey, you're really here. Xiao Xiao jumped off the bed and ran to Lin, jumping in his arms and hanging onto Lin Yi like a koala. Lin Yi sighed as he looked at the lively Xiao Xiao. Everything before felt like a dream, and Xiao Xiao didn't seem to have fainted at all. Thank you, Lin Yi honey. Xiao Xiao pecked Lin Yi on the cheek. Thank you for everything you've done for me. I'm very happy. It's worth dying for. The sect master was speechless at Xiao Xiao's words. The ones who saved you were the first elder and me. All right? After you woke up, I tried so hard to get close to you, but you didn't give me the cold shoulder. Lin Yi was here. That was it? But at the same time, she understood. It seemed that convincing Lin Yi was the main point. Aunt Ching, does he know our Ice Palace's intentions? The Ice Palace Master asked Lil Ching. Sky-class experts had a very powerful ability, and that was the ability to transmit their voice to the person who wanted to hear it. They could condense their voice into chi and transmit it to the person who wanted to hear it. This was the legendary chi transformation. Only Sky-class masters could do this. However, this technique used up a lot of chi, and under normal circumstances, no one would use it casually. But this time, they were discussing Xiao Xiao, and the sect master had no choice but to use it. I know, but I didn't agree, nor did I refuse. Little Qing also used the secret language to reply. Chi transmission. Lin Yi frowned as he felt the energy ripple around him. He could guess what the sect master and Xiao Qing were doing. You noticed? The sect master was truly shocked by Lin Yi. If Lin Yi was a Sky class, it wouldn't be strange for him to notice her and Xiao Qing's transformation. There were even stronger Sky class masters who could intercept the transformation. But Lin Yi was just a mystic. No matter how strong he was, there was no way he could sense the transformational chi. I noticed, but I don't know what you're planning, Lin Yi said faintly, looking at the sect master with an unfriendly gaze. Lin Yi was very sensitive to the movement of pure chi. This might be due to his practitioner's arts, but it was also the reason why Lin Yi was able to detect his opponent's true strength when they didn't use their arts to release pure chi. Otherwise, when practitioners were hiding their strength, they wouldn't leak out their chi, and other practitioners wouldn't be able to sense someone else's strength. As for low-level cultivators, even if they did not release their true chi in front of high-level cultivators, they could hide their true chi and secretly circulate their inner force mantra. The high-level cultivator would still be able to discover their true strength, unless the situation was reversed, where the high-level practitioners didn't release their chi and instead secretly used their arts. The low-level practitioners wouldn't be able to detect it. Chi transformational. You saw through it. You have some skills. The sect master looked at Lin Yi, a little surprised. The more she interacted with Lin Yi, the more she realized how mysterious Lin Yi was. This weak mystic class master in her eyes was able to do things that made her drop her jaw. Chi transformational. Lin Yi frowned. So this is called Chi transformational. Lin Yi muttered to himself. He found a secret message quite interesting. He turned the energy in his body into a voice and sent it to the ice palace. Cold girl, is this how it should be? What did you call me? The sect master gritted her teeth at the way Lin Yi had called her. What did I call you? Lin Yi didn't think that his experiment would work. But of course, he wouldn't admit that he'd said anything. This was a Sky-class late-phase peak. It wasn't a joke when she got angry. You. The sect master naturally couldn't repeat Lin Yi's words, but under Xiao Xiao and Xiao Qing's surprised gazes, she suddenly realized that Lin Yi could use a secret message as well. She didn't care about what Lin Yi said before. You could transformational chi transformational too. So this is the manifestation of pure chi. Lin Yi shrugged. It sounds pretty simple. Simple. The sect master didn't know what to say anymore. Transformational chi was something only Sky-class masters could do, but that didn't mean that all Sky-class masters could do it. Only practitioners like the sect master and Xiao Qing could do this, but Lin Yi had done it so easily. This was a huge blow to the sect master. That's right, isn't that it? Lin Yi turned his words into pure chi and sent it to the sect master. To Lin Yi, this was a bit of a trick because Lin Yi's Aura Dragon Mastery was an all-purpose energy transformation. It could transform energy into all sorts of forms. And so for Lin Yi, turning words into chi was a very easy thing to do. It didn't cost him a single bit of energy. This was because this true energy was transformed from the sound of words and was not actually condensed from the true energy in one's body. That's right. When you used your chi to destroy my walls, you used chi transformation. I didn't think too much about it, but now that I think about it, you were still quite a distance away from my walls, so you must have used chi transformational. The sect master sighed. Before Lin Yi had used compressed chi to destroy Naipeo's meridians and Nitian's body. This wasn't all that surprising because Lin Yi hadn't used chi transformation. The sect master was surprised, but it wasn't all that surprising. Chapter 1542. I'll accompany you for for the rest of your life. You can say that, Lin Yi said. The sect master finally realized that Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao's talent was simply insane. She didn't know what Lin Yi's talent was, but he was definitely more talented than the geniuses of the ancient sects. Of course, even so, the sect master didn't have any intentions of coveting him. No matter how strong Lin Yi was, he wasn't suited for the arts of the Ice Palace. Only Xiao Xiao was someone they wanted to get on their side. If you can tell, then tell me the truth. I was just asking if Ani Qing told you about our Ice Palace wanting to take Xiao Xiao as a disciple. The sect leader said, I saw you two being so intimate just now, so I didn't want to disturb you. I said that I did, but you didn't give me a clear answer. Qing said. Lin Yi nodded. The sect master saying that she didn't want to disturb them was just an excuse, but judging from the way she was talking to Qing, Lin Yi knew that they weren't lying. That was probably what they were talking about. The sect master wasn't a liar, and there was no reason for her to lie. Lin Yi didn't say anything else. I understand. Can I talk to Xiao Xiao alone? Of course. The sect master nodded and pulled Qing out of the room. Letting Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao discuss it first was the best way. Once they came to a conclusion, the sect master wouldn't need to say anything else. After the two left, Xiao Xiao jumped onto Lin Yi and hugged Lin Yi, not letting go. Lin Yi, honey, I've missed you so much. It's like I've been dreaming for a long, long time. I was afraid I wouldn't wake up. How could that be? I told you that I could save you. Lin Yi patted her back with a smile. How do you feel now? I feel much better, not as cold as before. Xiao Xiao said. That's good. Lin Yi put Xiao Xiao down and hugged her softly. He suddenly felt blissful at this moment. The two had been through life and death, and they both cherished this feeling. Right, Lin Yi, honey, that sect master said that she wants to take me in as a disciple on behalf of her master. Xiao Xiao looked up at Lin Yi, her eyes filled with love and reluctance. She'd been saying O's to the sect master, but she was a smart girl. Naturally, she knew that staying in the Ice Palace was her only choice if she wanted to live. Although, if Lin Yi told her to go back to Songshan right now, she'd go back without a second thought. But the sect master saying that she'd stay with Lin Yi for the rest of her life still moved her. Yes, Lin Yi was a practitioner, and if life could really be extended, she'd die a long time ago. Lin Yi was so pointless. Tang Yun, Meng Yao, and Yushu were all not practitioners, and so Xiao Xiao wanted to stay with Lin Yi forever, forever and ever. Yeah, I know. Do you want to join the Ice Palace then? Lin Yi took a deep breath. This was a topic he had to face, after all. It decided Xiao Xiao's life and death, and he couldn't avoid it. I don't know. She said that my body is very suitable for the Ice Palace's practitioner arts. Xiao Xiao said, but if I don't train, I might die. Then did she tell you about the legacy? Lin Yi asked. She did, saying that my body can inherit the Ice Mountain's knowledge and break through to Sky Class. Xiao Xiao nodded. I asked Elder Qing before if you could stay here and train your practitioner arts, but the Ice Palace wanted you to accept the legacy. Lin Yi paused. I keep feeling like there's some kind of scheme going on here. Why do they want you to be the inheritor? What's the point of being an inheritor to the Ice Palace? Scheme? But the sect master said that she tried it before but failed. Xiao Xiao said, if you tried it too, then there shouldn't be a scheme, right? But inheritors are very important to them. That's for sure. Lin Yi agreed with Xiao Xiao's analysis. Indeed, if there really was a scheme, why would the sect master try it herself? But even so, Lin Yi still felt uneasy. Then what do you think? Lin Yi lowered his head and looked at Xiao Xiao, asking solemnly, tell me your true thoughts. I want to hear what you think. I want to be with you forever. Xiao Xiao lowered her head, embarrassed by Lin Yi's gaze. But I'm not a practitioner. They said that if you reach Sky Class, your lifespan will be extended. I understand. Lin Yi hugged Xiao Xiao. Lin Yi had actually made up his mind a long time ago. He just wanted to see what Xiao Xiao thought. No matter why the Ice Palace wanted Xiao Xiao to be their inheritor, Lin Yi had to make her stay. This was her only hope. There was no other way. The only thing left was how to negotiate with the Ice Palace. Although Lin Yi knew that the Ice Palace had about 80% confidence that he could make Xiao Xiao stay, As long as there was a sliver of uncertainty, Lin Yi would have the chance to ask the Ice Palace for help. Actually, I respect your decision. If you want me to agree, I'll agree. Xiao Xiao said. If you don't want me to agree, I'll go back with you. Lin Yi was very touched by Xiao Xiao's words. He held on to Xiao Xiao's hand, remembering his saying, "Hold your hand, grow old with you. Life and death, a promise made to you." Xiao Xiao held on to Lin Yi's hand as well. "Even if I die, I'll be with you." "Huh, we'll talk to the Ice Palace people now," Lin Yi said. "Just play along with me later." "Yeah, don't worry, I'll play along." Xiao Xiao nodded and pointed at the pig by Lin Yi's feet. "Right, what's this little thing?" "An ancient spirit beast. It brought me here to find the fire spirit's fruit," Lin Yi said. "This little guy has a sharp nose for treasures." "I see, it's cute." With that, Xiao Xiao reached out to touch the pig. Lin Yi quickly kicked the pig. "If you hurt her, I'll kick you to death." Oink, oink. The pig felt wronged. Chapter 1543. Please tell the truth. Xiao Xiao bent down and patted the pig, losing interest very quickly. She'd just seen Lin Yi, and all her attention was on Lin Yi. She wasn't in the mood to play with a pig. So, after asking what this little thing was, she went back to Lin Yi. The two hugged each other again. They both knew that perhaps it wouldn't be so easy to see each other again, and so they cherished this beautiful moment. "All right, let's go," Lin Yi said as he let go of her. "Okay." Xiao Xiao held on to Lin Yi's hand, not wanting to let go. The two walked out of the room, but the sect master and Qing weren't there. Lin Yi was puzzled when he raised his head to see two figures, one green and one white, flying over. Evidently, the two had walked far away and didn't eavesdrop on Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao's conversation. Now that they saw Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao walking out, they came back. Lin Yi was quite impressed by how straightforward these two were. It seemed like the Ice Palace wasn't the type to stoop so low as to stoop so low. "Palace Master, Elder Qing." Lin Yi cupped his fists and said, "Thank you for saving Xiao Xiao. Thank you for waking her up." "It's nothing," the sect master said faintly with a wave of her hand. "How did your discussion go? Any results?" "Of course, but before that, I need to understand some things." "I hope you can tell me the truth, sect master," Lin Yi said. "What do you want to know?" The sect master frowned at Lin Yi's attitude. He'd been so humble when he asked for the fruit, and now he was talking to her in a questioning tone. It pissed her off, and she wanted to show Lin Yi who he was, to let him know his strength. And so, a powerful aura rose around the sect master, aimed at Lin Yi. Lin Yi felt a bone-chilling coldness all the way to his meridians. But Lin Yi didn't back down this time. He put Xiao Xiao behind him and raised his head proudly, looking straight at the sect master. He didn't look like he was going to give up. The coldness made Lin Yi shiver, but Lin Yi still used the art of dragon mastery to try and get rid of it. This was the first time Lin Yi looked the sect master in the eye. He'd seen her before, but he didn't dare stare at her like this. It was at this moment that Lin Yi realized that the Ice Palace Master was even prettier than he'd seen her before. The weird thing was she looked familiar to him, as if he'd seen her somewhere before. But that was just an intuition, and upon closer inspection, he was sure that he'd never seen her before. Seeing how Lin Yi stared at her fearlessly, even putting Xiao Xiao behind him, the sect master understood how much Lin Yi cared about Xiao Xiao. He'd even go against her, a sky class, for Xiao Xiao. Of course, the sect master didn't do anything to Lin Yi. Her goal was to get Xiao Xiao to join the Ice Palace, after all. If she really started a fight with Lin Yi now, it wouldn't be rational, and things would get out of hand. Since that didn't work, the sect master retracted her aura, and all of a sudden, the coldness on Lin Yi's body disappeared, replaced by a comfortable feeling. Fu dash! Lin Yi let out a breath of relief before letting Xiao Xiao out. Sky Class was different, after all. Just the pressure from their aura alone was enough to crush a weak-willed mystic. "You don't need to block her. My coldness won't affect her." With that, the sect master turned and walked into the guest room. "What do you want to ask?" "Come in, I'll tell you." "Not bad, kid." Qing was praising Lin Yi even more, patting him on the shoulder. You're the first person to provoke the sect mistress. Even the elders and sect masters of the other ancient sects didn't dare to do so. For Xiao Xiao, I had no choice. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Luckily, Lin Yi knew that with Xiao Xiao here, the Ice Palace wouldn't really go against him. Otherwise, Lin Yi wouldn't be in a stalemate with the Sky class. The group entered the guest room, and the sect master looked at Lin Yi before looking at Xiao Xiao. Do it. Since I'm taking in a disciple on behalf of my master, I'll be Xiao Xiao's senior sister from now on. You don't need to call me sect master anymore. Let me introduce myself. I'm Rock Candy. You can call me senior sister or Ice Sis. Rock Candy? Lin Yi paused. What a cute name. But he didn't see any hint of sweetness from the sect master at all. She was definitely Ice. It's too early to talk about this. I need to figure out a few things before I can hand Xiao Xiao over to you. Lin Yi said, otherwise, even if we die, we'll die together. All right, ask away. The sect master nodded and said to Lin, the Ice Palace values Xiao Xiao so much just because she has a cold constitution? Lin Yi asked. Yes. The sect master said with certainty. Then why do you have to give her the inheritance and not let her train normally? Lin Yi asked. With her constitution, the inheritance will allow her to reach Sky class faster. Even a genius with an Ice practitioner's arts and treasures wouldn't be that fast. The sect master said, I've been training since I was young, and I only reached Sky class late phase peak when I was 18. That's already very fast. What if I insist on not giving her the inheritance and only let her train normally? Lin Yi's face showed a look of determination. Then you'll only hurt her, the sect master said. You'll turn a genius into a cripple. Is that so? Lin Yi said faintly. I only know that there's no such thing as a free lunch. There's no such thing as love without a reason. You value Xiao Xiao and want her to inherit not just because of her talent, right? Otherwise, why would you insist on not letting her train? So I advised the sect master to tell the truth. The sect master and Qing looked at each other. The sect master sighed and nodded. Aunt Qing, I think it's better if you do it. What we're doing is for a reason. Qing said after getting the sect master's approval. We, the Ice Palace, need an inheritor to do something for us. What is it? Lin Yi's face froze. As expected, there was something going on. It seemed like his guess was right. Chapter 1544. Chapter 1543. The Promised Sky Class Meeting. The sect master said, Have you heard of it? Sky Class Meeting? Lin Yi paused and shook his head. He hadn't heard of this before, but he had heard of the Noble House Meeting. That's right, it's the Sky Class Meeting. The sect master said, the Sky Class Meeting, as the name suggests, is a meeting for all Sky Class Masters, and the Ice Palace is one of the 4 main sections. What does this have to do with the inheritors? Isn't the Sky Class Meeting open to all Sky Class Masters? Lin Yi asked. That's not true. That's for the other sects and noble houses, not the main ones. The sect master shook her head. Legend has it that there's a Sky Class island, and on that island, one can understand the laws of the world and break through to Sky Class. The key to opening the island lies in the inheritors of the 4 main sects. Only the inheritors of the 4 main sects can open the door to the island. Oh, you're saying that you want Xiao Xiao to open that island for you guys? Lin Yi frowned. That's it. The sect master nodded. This is a secret. Even the Sky Class Masters of the other sects can't know about it. Only the 4 main sects know about it. But since you're Xiao Xiao's boyfriend, I don't want to hide it from you. Opening the island, how do you do it? Will it be dangerous? Lin Yi frowned. I don't think so. The sect master said, but I won't hide it from you. The information we have is from the older generation of the sections. I don't know the language, but their generation all disappeared. Even if we wanted to ask them, we wouldn't be able to find them. I think so. Lin Yi nodded. The sect master wasn't trying to hide anything from him. She wouldn't have needed to add that last line at all. What else do you know? Tell me everything. I only know that the only way to break through to the heaven rank is to ascend to the heaven island. The sect master sighed and smiled bitterly. Back then, I heard that something big happened. That person from the Hidden House Council visited all the Sky Class Masters and gathered them together to discuss something big. My master was one of them. Oh, what is it? Lenny asked. Master didn't say, and at that time, I was still very young. Master only left a letter and left with the Grand Elder in a hurry. It seemed that he had something important to do. From then on, there was no news of Master, and that group of people also disappeared. What? In Lin Yi's mind, a familiar scene suddenly flashed. When he was 6 years old, his master also suddenly told him that he was going to do something big, and then disappeared. Could it be that his master was also related to that big thing? Lenny wasn't sure, but this was too much of coincidence. Lenny couldn't help but wonder if there was some unknown connection between all of this. After that, Lenny left his master's house and lived with Old Lin. Lenny also asked Old Lin about his master, but Old Lin said that he was too weak and couldn't reach that level yet, and rejected him. Actually, Lenny thought about it later. Old Lin loved him, and he didn't want him to live a homeless life, so he wouldn't let him do anything too dangerous. However, this last mission in Songshan was beyond his imagination. It was originally a simple bodyguard mission, but it made Lin Yi walk on a completely different path. Lin Yi still didn't know how this mission came about. Old Lin didn't say. Perhaps it was because the time wasn't right yet. But Lin Yi didn't regret it, because this mission gave him the true meaning of life. In Songshan, he had friendships, love, career, dreams, and pursuits. Although every day was filled with danger, it was a fulfilling life. What's wrong? The sect master asked. Did your master leave 13 years ago? Lenny asked. The sect master's expression froze as she looked at Lenny in shock. How did you know? Was it really 13 years ago? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. I'm afraid that my master left because of this. You? You have a master? Aren't you a solo practitioner? The sect master asked. Master left, and I'm the only one left. Doesn't that make me a solo practitioner? Lin Yi said. You don't have a sect? Only one master? The sect master was even more shocked. Your master is also a sky class? I don't know if he's a sky class or not. Lin Yi shook his head. If that's the case, then you don't know about Sky Class Island? The sect master asked. He didn't tell you to go there after you broke through? No. Lin Yi said. Maybe he left in a hurry and didn't tell me anything. That's possible as well. Actually, I only told Aunt Ching about it later on. I was only 6 at the time, and I didn't really understand these things. All I knew was to train every day. The sect master sighed. But that's all I know. I've told you everything now. So you're saying that this mission might be dangerous, or it might not be. Everything is unknown, right? Lenny asked. You could say that. The sect master nodded. What do you think? Have you thought it through? How about this? You wait for me for 2 years. In these 2 years, don't let Xiao Xiao receive the inheritance. Just let her practice normal arts. If I really become a 3rd level refiner and above and can make the ice hard J-bone pellet, then I'll make one for you, and you'll receive the inheritance. What do you think? Lenny pondered for a while and gave his opinion. What if you can't become a level 3 alchemist or higher? The sect master asked. Then I'll accept the legacy. Xiao Xiao spoke up at this time. No, there won't be enough time. Sky Class Island opens in these 2 years. If you don't have the ice heart pill and let Xiao Xiao accept the legacy, then there won't be enough time. The sect master said, she's different from me. She doesn't have the strength, and I'm Sky Class late phase peak. After she accepts the legacy, she'll need to digest it herself to break through. Then what do you think we should do? Lin Yi said, if I really make the ice heart pill in 2 years, I won't let her inherit it. Lin Yi's words were very straightforward. He didn't care if the Ice Palace Master was in danger after receiving the inheritance, but Xiao Xiao was out of the question. Chapter 1545. Chapter 1544. Accepting a disciple. Let her accept the legacy first. If you successfully make the pill, then I'll accept the legacy as well. The sect master said, are you satisfied with that? You accept the legacy as well? Isn't there only one inheritor? Lenny blinked. Who told you that? The sect master asked, did I say that? No. Lin Yi shook his head. But isn't that usually the case? No, there can't only be one inheritor. Many inheritors working together will increase the chances of opening sky, class island. The sect master said, "All right, if that's what you say, then of course." Lenny nodded after hearing the explanation. "Give me the recipe for the ice element refinement fire and the recipe for the ice heart pill." Lin, he didn't have a reason to say no. Lin, he really didn't want Xiao Xiao to be part of this island opening plan. It sounded dangerous, but if Lin, he didn't agree, the Ice Palace wouldn't keep saving Xiao Xiao and letting her train here. Just like Lin, he said, there was no such thing as love without a reason. If Xiao Xiao wanted to stay here, she had to pay a price, and Lin, he couldn't just take all the benefits. And so, the fact that Lin, he was able to get to where he was right now was already surprising. As long as Lin, he could make the Ice Hard Jade Bone pill within 2 years, he'd be able to trade for Xiao Xiao's safety. "Sure, I'll get Aunt Qing to give it to you later." The sect master didn't hide it. These were all Ice Palace secrets. But since Lin, he was Xiao Xiao's boyfriend, and Xiao Xiao was staying in the Ice Palace, these secrets weren't secrets anymore. "Can I come visit Xiao Xiao while she's training here?" Lenny asked. "No, unless she breaks through to Sky Class after accepting the legacy, where you make the Ice Heart Pill." The sect master said, "I don't want you to disturb her meditation. You should know that I'm doing this for her own good." "All right." Lin, he clenched his fist and said, "I will become a third-grade alchemist as soon as possible and refine the Ice Heart Jade Bone pill for you. Even if you make the pill and can come see her, I still have to warn you, before she reaches Sky Class, do not cross the lightning pool. Once she loses her virginity, she won't be able to reach Sky Class for the rest of her life." The sect leader said faintly, "Don't regret it for the rest of your life because of a moment of happiness." "Of course I understand." Lin, he nodded solemnly. He knew that the sect master was doing this for Xiao Xiao's sake. "Then me and Lin, honey kissing, touching, and hugging her fine, right?" Xiao Xiao interrupted. The sect master paused and couldn't help but smile at Xiao Xiao's question. A smile appeared on her cold face. "That's up to you." Lin, he didn't know if he should be laughing or crying at Xiao Xiao's actions, shaking his head. "Don't worry, Linny honey. Xiao Xiao will break through to Sky Class as soon as possible. I won't make you wait too long," Xiao Xiao said seriously. "All right, I'll wait for you." Lin, he smiled. "Since it's decided, it's better to do it sooner rather than later. I'll gather all the elders of the Ice Palace and start the incense ceremony to accept a disciple on behalf of Master." The sect master said, "Xiao Xiao, you'll be my little junior sister from now on." "Oh." Xiao Xiao didn't seem too happy now that it was finished. She was about to part ways with Lin Yi, and it made her sad. But she was happy that she could live on again, and she had the chance to become a practitioner, staying with Lin Yi for the rest of his life. That's settled, but there's something else. The fire spirit's fruit. You can give me one now, right? Lin Yi asked. "What do you need it for?" "Xiao Xiao doesn't need it here." The sect master looked at Lin Yi curiously. "Xiao Xiao's mother has the same type, and she needs the fruit to heal her." Lin Yi said, "Coldine type as well." The sect master's eyes lit up, as if she'd found some treasure. Then, "Should we let her train in the Ice Palace as well?" "Can she still train? Didn't you say that she can't lose her virginity?" Lin Yi asked. Lose what?" The sect master blinked. "Of course, if she doesn't lose her virginity, where would Xiao Xiao come from?" Lin Yi realized that this sect master was a little dumb. Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't think of that." The sect leader felt a little awkward. She hadn't experienced the things between a man and a woman, and the Ice Palace was full of women, so she didn't have much knowledge in that area. She only knew a little about it, and that was why she almost made a fool out of herself. "Mom can be saved?" Xiao Xiao's eyes were wide with joy. "Can she? Will Mom wake up after eating the fire spirit's fruit?" "In theory, yes," Lin Yi said. "If it wasn't for the fact that we're not in a rush to use the fruit, I wouldn't recommend it." At this time, the sect master spoke. "Xiao Xiao, your mother's training is hard, but she still has the cold energy inside her. Once you become a Sky Class master, you can help her get rid of it and use it for yourself. It'll be killing 2 birds with 1 stone, and there won't be any side effects. It'll be much safer than the fire spirit's fruit." Oh, then can you save my mom, Bing sis? Help her dissolve the cold energy in her body? Xiao Xiao quickly asked. I can't, and even if I could, I'd be suppressing it. The sect master shook her head. I'm a sky class, but our bodies are different. The cold energy in my body is different. Only you two have the same coldness. So that's how it is. Xiao Xiao nodded solemnly. Then I'll train hard and try to break through to sky class as soon as possible to cure Mom. Xiao Xiao knew that her mother was in the coffin, so she wasn't in a rush. It wasn't long before Qing returned with a small booklet in her hand. She handed it to Lin Yi after entering the guest room. This is the refinement method for the ice element refinement fire and the recipe for the ice hard jade bone pill. I'm giving it to you. Don't tell anyone else. Don't worry, Senior. I'll keep this a secret. Lin Yi said solemnly after taking the book. All right, since Xiao Xiao's in the Ice Palace now, you can call me Aunt Qing as well. There's no need to be so polite. Qing was a very kind person and easy to talk to. All right, Aunt Qing. Lin Yi quickly corrected himself. Xiao Xiao, Lin Yi, I'll go prepare for the disciple acceptance ceremony. I'll stay here with you. With that, the sect master left the room. Chapter 1546. Hard to see, haha. You two get to know each other. Young lovers always have endless topics to talk about. Qing sighed, as if reminiscing about something. With that, she left the room with the sect master. Only Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao were left in the room. Linny, honey, you won't forget about Xiao Xiao when you go back, right? Xiao Xiao fell into Lin Yi's embrace, a little sad. I'm afraid that 2 years will dilute our feelings. How could that be? We've been through so much together. It's not an exaggeration to say that we're lovers of life and death. How could I forget about you? Lin Yi smiled. I'm more worried that you'll become like that rock candy after you practice that ice practitioner's arts. Always cold. Hee, that won't happen. Xiao Xiao said. Right. Tang Yun sis, Yao Yao sis, and my old partner. Are they doing well? Yeah, they're great. It's almost time for the exams, but you won't be able to participate. Lin Yi sighed. But no matter what, it's good that you're still alive. Plus, you'll become a sky class. Yeah, when you see Xiao Xiao again, she'll be a sky class already. Xiao Xiao sighed. It's unbelievable. I can't believe I can become a practitioner. Life is like that, full of surprises, and when you're at the end of your rope, things will turn around. Linny said, It seems that I need to work hard as well. Sky class. I can't let my woman surpass me, can I? Male chauvinist. Xiao Xiao stuck her tongue out and made a face. Haha, I'm just joking. Lin Yi laughed as well. Linny, honey, hug me again. I want to feel it and remember it forever. Xiao Xiao said. Yeah. Lin Yi hugged Xiao Xiao. The two didn't say anything, quietly enjoying this moment of warmth and peacefulness. Sometimes, the connection of the heart was better than any words. Time ticked by, and little Qing appeared at the door of the guest room again. Xiao Xiao, the master-disciple ceremony is ready. You're going to go officially. With that, Qing turned to Linny. Linny, I'm going to send you out of the Ice Palace. That's fast. Xiao Xiao didn't want Lin Yi to leave so soon, grabbing onto Lin Yi tightly. When little Qing saw how reluctant they were part, she was filled with endless emotions. All right, Xiao Xiao, 2 years isn't a long time. Besides, who knows, I might be able to make the Ice Heart Jade Bone Pill within 2 years. Lin Yi patted Xiao Xiao's back and said to her, Yep. Only then did Xiao Xiao let go of Lin Yi. But her expression was one of endless longing. If two people love each other for a long time, why would they stay together day and night? Lin Yi looked at Xiao Xiao one last time. Xiao Xiao, take care, I'm leaving. Yep. Xiao Xiao nodded. The sect master walked in as well, rushing her. Xiao Xiao, come with me. We're all waiting for you. Oh. Xiao Xiao didn't have a choice. She could only follow the sect master to the door, but she kept turning back every few steps. Be happy, train hard, and break through to Sky Class soon. There should be a lot of treasures in the Ice Palace. You can eat some when you get there. It's free. Lin Yi was worried that Xiao Xiao would be sad, so he couldn't help but joke around. All right, I'll definitely eat a lot. If I can't, I'll hide it all and leave it for you. Xiao Xiao said. The sect master almost tripped after hearing the two's conversation. Did these two think the ice palace was their backyard? She knew that it was mostly a joke, but it was still quite shocking. Seeing Xiao Xiao's figure disappear into the distance, Lin Yi left the room with Qing and walked towards the exit of the ice palace. Lin Yi, this is as far as I can send you. Go down the mountain yourself. Qing walked Lin Yi to the door and said to Lin Yi, you need to work hard. Don't let Xiao Xiao overtake you. I know. Thanks for the reminder, Aunt Qing. With that, Lin Yi picked up Skybolt Pig. Lin Yi would have to move fast after this, and Skybolt Pig might not be able to keep up. This little thing's pretty cute. What kind of spirit beast is it? Qing looked at the little thing in Lin Yi's arms. I don't know. I heard it's called Skybolt Pig. Lin Yi didn't explain too much about Skybolt Pig's abilities. Qing was a trustworthy person, but Lin Yi still understood the concept of having a treasure get in trouble. It was best if fewer people knew about a spirit beast like this. Qing nodded and didn't ask any more questions. Lin Yi turned around and left, running down the snowy mountain. When he reached the foot of the mountain, Lin Yi looked up at the mountaintop again. The snowy mountain was empty, and even the patrolling disciples were nowhere to be seen. Perhaps they'd all gone to Xiao Xiao's disciple ceremony. The sect master accepting a disciple on behalf of the master was a huge event for the Ice Palace, no less than a grand celebration. It made sense that everyone from the Ice Palace would be there. Lin Yi could almost see Xiao Xiao's hand being held by Crystal Candy, kowtowing to the painting of the Ice Palace Grandmaster. He could almost see the determination in Xiao Xiao's eyes, the determination to become a sky class. Xiao Xiao chose to stay, not only to cure her illness, but also to be with Lin Yi forever. Lin Yi sighed softly. Perhaps they wouldn't see each other for a long time. Although the Ice Palace treated Xiao Xiao like a treasure, that didn't mean they treated Lin Yi the same way. They were treating him with respect only because of Xiao Xiao. Otherwise, a mystic like him wouldn't be worth much in their eyes. And so, Lin Yi knew where he stood. Before he became a third-level refiner, or until Xiao Xiao became a sky class and gained full control of the Ice Palace, Lin Yi wouldn't step foot on Ice Mountain again. He'd already said those arrogant words, and there was no way Lin Yi would shamelessly come to the Ice Palace and ask to see Xiao Xiao. At least Lin Yi knew that Xiao Xiao wouldn't be in any danger before she went to do that big thing. The Ice Palace would treasure her dearly, and that was enough. The rest of the time was up to Lin Yi to improve himself. At the thought, Lin Yi couldn't help but smile bitterly. First of the Mystic class. If he were the first of the Sky class, would Miss Cold treat him like this? At that time, no matter what he said, little Cold Girl would have to listen. Chapter 1547. It was Lin Yi. Even if he'd let Xiao Xiao accept the inheritance and not do that big thing, that Cold Girl wouldn't have dared complain. At the end of the day, it was all because he wasn't strong enough. Piglet, let's go back. Lin Yi took one last look at the mountain before walking back to the town. Oink oink. Skybolt Pig knew what was going on and comforted Lin Yi. Ah, little guy, the three of us came here together, and now only two of us have gone back. But don't worry, we'll come back one day. Lin Yi said firmly. Oink oink. Skybolt Pig seemed to trust Lin Yi very much. In Songshan, in Ling Shan's office, Lu Wangli handed a technical report to Ling Shan. Captain Song, this is the result of the technical department's reconstruction of the license plate number from the surveillance footage. The plate number is TT000. TT000. Ling Shan paused. The plate number wasn't bad, and it felt familiar. Is it a real plate? Could be a fake? I don't know if it's a fake or not, but I've already gotten a file from the traffic police. This plate number is classified, and it's assigned to a special department. I don't have enough authority to check it, so I'm afraid you'll have to check it yourself to find out where it came from. Oh, Ling Shan paused but nodded. All right, I'll check it out right now. If I don't have enough authority, I'll have to report it to Director Yang and ask him for help. With that, Ling Shan turned on the computer on her desk and logged into the system, entering her account and password. Fortunately, Ling Shan's authority was enough, and the screen showed the plate number right away TT000 is from Songshan's Supernatural Investigation Department, and the car's local plate number is FX520. Lingshan felt even weirder at the point. That TT000 from before had felt familiar, and this FX520 felt even more familiar. She felt like she'd seen it somewhere before. FX520? Lu Wangli also felt that this number plate was very familiar. Let me check again. Lingshan quickly looked up the FX520 registration information, and her eyes widened in shock. She couldn't help but cry out, "Wow, how is that possible?" "What's wrong, Captain Song?" Lu Wangli quickly asked. The FX520 was first registered as an Audi TT. The owner was Feng Xiao, and a while ago, the license plate was transferred. "It's a Land Rover now." Lingshan felt like she'd seen a ghost. Xiao. "Yes, I remember now. At the underground racetrack, we were working with Feng Tianlong to capture the members of the Red Conches. At that time, the Land Rover seemed to have been driven away by Lin Yi, and the license plate was the one from the scrapped Audi TT." Lu Wangli said, "Could it be these cases were all done by Lin Yi? How is that possible?" Lingshan said subconsciously. She knew Lin Yi's manner. There was no way Lin Yi would rob a bank. Plus, the things he was doing now were even more outrageous. Robbing an old man selling roasted sweet potatoes, beating up innocent old women on the streets, and even molesting young girls. It was a completely different personality from Lin Yi. If Lin Yi wanted money, Lin Yi wouldn't even look at all the treasures and antiques in the tomb. Robbing a bank? Lingshan wouldn't believe it even if she said it. Plus, Lin Yi didn't look like the type to bully the weak. This guy didn't even bother to bully his enemies. Why would he bully the weak? As for molesting young girls, that was even more unbelievable. If he had that kind of hobby, wouldn't it be great if he did? They were both willing, and it felt good, but that's the situation now. Lu Wangli smiled bitterly. The evidence points to this. We can't just ignore it, can we? Lu Wangli knew about the relationship between Lingshan and Lin Yi, and he also knew about Lin Yi's contributions in solving the previous cases. But he couldn't just eliminate Lin Yi just because of that. I think we should start investigating this Lin Yi immediately, get his information, and compare it with the image in the video. Make sure it's the same person, Wang Hecken said. Lingshan didn't believe that Lin Yi was the suspect, but the evidence pointed to this point. She had no choice but to nod. We can investigate it, but Lin Yi is my friend. He shouldn't be in Songshan right now. He wouldn't have the time to commit the crime. Officer Song, aren't you being a little too hasty? How do you know he's not in Songshan? Maybe he snuck back? Don't tell me you're with him every day. Wang Hecken asked. Lingshan hesitated, but could only say, "All right, we'll investigate it then." The information on the police's side was ready-made. All the surveillance videos of the case were also organized together. The few of them came to the conference room, and Lu Wangli very quickly used the projector to play the surveillance video of the case when it happened. Lingshan only thought that the suspect looked familiar, but now that she saw it again, her heart froze. Lin Yi. This figure should be Lin Yi. Lingshan remembered Lin Yi's face all of a sudden. It was a perfect match with the person in the recording. It was the same person as the one in the recording. But Lingshan still didn't believe that Lin Yi was this crazy bank robber. Investigating Lin Yi was only for the sake of work. After watching the video, Lu Wangli pulled out a few pictures of Lin Yi and played them for everyone. After playing the pictures, Wang Hecken slammed the table and said, "With my years of experience as a detective, this Lin Yi is the suspect. These two are 100% the same person. There's no need for identification. I suggest that you arrest him directly." Arrest him directly? Lingshan raised an eyebrow, a little angry. What was wrong with this Wang Hecken? He could identify the suspect just by looking at him. Plus, whether it was Lin Yi or not, they still needed the technical department to do the identification. How could they make such a hasty judgment? Detective Wang, although it looks like Lin Yi and the suspect physique are very similar, whether it's Lin Yi or not, we still need the technical department to verify it. Lu Wangli saw that Lingshan was angry, so he quickly tried to smooth things over. After all, Wang Hecken was the detective they hired. Chapter 1548. The result? Captain Song, I think you're trying to protect this Lin Yi, aren't you? May I ask, what's your relationship with this Lin Yi? Wong Hecken didn't give up. Protect? Why would I protect him? I'm just doing things according to the rules. Based on what you're doing, you're making someone a suspect just by looking at them. If you have a grudge with someone, wouldn't it be a mess? Ling Shan frowned. Wong Hecken, am an elite in the detective world. Even foreign police have asked me to solve cases. Do I need you to question my skills? Wang Hejin laughed coldly. I think there's an 80% chance that there's something going on between you and that Lin Yi. But I better remind you, don't be biased. Otherwise, although I'm not part of your police force, I still have my prestige. I'll ask your police station's Chief Chun to let you leave this case. Ling Shan was pissed. What was wrong with this Wong Hecken? She'd only said a few words for Lin Yi, and this was what he was doing? Was he so sure that Lin Yi was the suspect? We'll wait for the technical department's report before we make a final decision. Ling Shan said, if it's really Lin Yi, of course, I won't be biased. If it's not Lin Yi, please don't jump to conclusions in the future, Detective Wong. We'll see. With that, Wong Hecken stormed out of the meeting room. He said as he walked, you guys asked me to solve the case, and I gave my opinion, but you guys didn't listen. How infuriating. Captain Song, Wang Li was in a difficult position. Let the technical department do the appraisal. If it's really Lin Yi, then I'll have to arrest him myself. Ling Shan sighed. Okay, Captain Song, I'll go first. Lu Wangli nodded and took the copy of the information to the technical department. Ling Shan felt helpless. Why was the evidence pointing at Lin Yi? Was this done by Lin Yi or was it framed? After some hesitation, Ling Shan decided to give Lin Yi a call. If this really was Lin Yi's doing, he'd definitely give himself away unless he had a strong heart. But if Lin Yi really didn't do it, then he would ask Lin Yi to help solve the case. Because only by catching the real culprit could they clear Lin Yi's name. But when she dialed Lin Yi's number, she was a little disappointed. It seemed like Lin Yi didn't turn his phone on, or maybe Lin Yi didn't bring his phone with him at all. Ling Shan had no other choice but to wait for the technical department's report. However, while they were waiting for the appraisal report, another big case happened. It was the same culprit at the seaside of Songshan. He robbed a group of young men and women who were having a picnic and threw them into the sea one by one. This was because a young man's head hit a reef in the sea, and he died in the hospital. The other people also had different degrees of injuries. The person who called the police was a photographer, a freelancer who made a living by taking pictures for newspapers and magazines. He witnessed the whole crime and even took pictures of it, but he didn't save the person in time, causing the person with a head injury to miss the best time to save him. This kind of photographer, who didn't call the police to save people in order to take good pictures, would be criticized, but Ling Shan couldn't do anything about it. Fortunately, this time, the photographer's camera was very high-end, and the pictures he took were not only clear, but also high quality. Not only did he take pictures of the suspect's car, but he also took pictures of the suspect's features. This way, it would be easier for the technical department to appraise it. So, after Ling Shan got the information, although she felt that this person was similar to Lin Yi, and giving the information to the technical department might be disadvantageous to Lin Yi, she had to do it. After looking at the information, Lu Wangli felt bad. After all, he was friends with Lin Yi, and Lin Yi had contributed a lot to solving cases in the past. Now that he was a suspect, who would feel good? Captain Song, it might not be Lin Yi, don't think too much about it. Lu Wangli comforted her. It's fine. I understand. Ling Shan nodded. Soon, the technical department's appraisal results came out, and it was 90% similar. Whether it was the surveillance footage or the pictures, the suspect was masked, and Lin Yi's information was only a picture, without any details such as height and weight, so it could only be said to be 90% similar, and not 100% similar. But this result made Ling Shan very annoyed. 90% meant that it was very likely that the suspect was Lin Yi. So it's him, right? With my fiery eyes, no criminal can escape from me. Wong Hecken's eyes. Wong Hecken looked at the report and said proudly, "Can we arrest him now?" "Yes, but we can't confirm that Lin Yi is the suspect yet. Ling Shan said, "Oomph. You won't shed a tear until you see the coffin." Wang Hecken curled his lips. "When do we send the message?" "We'll go to Lin Yi's villa now." Ling Shan said angrily, "Lu Wangli, come with me." "Why aren't you bringing me? Is there something fishy going on?" Wang Hecken interrupted. "You're not from the police. It's not good for you to go under these circumstances," Ling Shan said. "What's not good about it? You guys are hiding something, aren't you?" "What can I see?" Wang Hecken insisted. "Don't forget, I'm the expert you guys invited. I'm not a passerby." "All right, let's go together then." Ling Shan had no choice but to bring Wang Hecken to House Chu's villa. School was on vacation now, and everyone was studying at home. This was good, too, since there was no air conditioning in the classrooms, and it would make people sleepy, affecting the studying process even more. Back at home, everyone had more freedom, and they could drink iced drinks, eat cool fruits, and read. "Yao Yao, I'm so hot. I'm going to explode. What do I do?" Yushu was so hot that she couldn't even focus on her book, running around the room like a headless fly. "I can't take it anymore. I need to take a shower." Chapter 1549. A sudden visit. Yushu finished and went to take a shower. She wasn't actually dirty, it was just that she was hot. She ran out of the bathroom after a quick shower and didn't even put on her clothes. She just wandered around in front of Tang Yun and Meng Yao with her naked body. The three of them were sleeping together. Anyway, showering together was a common thing, so Yushu didn't really mind. Walking around the house without any clothes on was one of her habits, after all. It was only because of Lin Yi's addition that she'd gotten rid of that habit for a while, and now that the weather was hot, she picked it up again. "Chu, why are you naked again?" Meng Yao was helpless. "There's still Wu Qintian down there. Can't you be more mindful? Wouldn't it be a big loss if someone saw you?" "He doesn't dare to come up," Yushu said nonchalantly. "I'm hot, so hot, so hot, so hot." "Yao Yao sis, I'm hot again. Help me cool down." With that, Yushu put her hand on Meng Yao's face. "Take it away. You're hot like fire. Are you trying to burn me to death?" Meng Yao pushed Yushu's hand away helplessly. "Tang Yun sis, don't tell me you don't want Shu too?" Meng Yao ignored Yushu and went to Tang Yun. Tang Yun had no choice but to put her hand on Yushu's forehead. "Is this okay now? Your hand is so cool." "Tang Yun sis, why aren't you hot?" Yushu asked enviously. "It's natural to cool down when you're calm. You run around the house. How can it not be hot?" Meng Yao said unhappily. "Tang Yun, don't spoil her. She's using you to cool down. I got a heat stroke last time." "Huh, it's fine. I'm used to it. I used to help my mom sell barbecue in the summer. It's much hotter than this." Tang Yin smiled and shook her head. "Poor kids like us have better bodies. But Mom said that kids with cold hands have no one to love them, no way. How much does Linny love you? I'm quite envious of you. I want to do something too, but I've been living under my father's protection since I was young, and now I'm under Lin Yi's protection. I feel so useless. I can't do anything." Meng Yao sighed. "At least you've tried your best. It's just that I think you've done very well." Tang Yin shook her head. "I feel that you and Shu are both very peaceful and not arrogant. You're not like those rich young ladies who live a luxurious life." "Extravagant." Yushu blinked. "Wow. Tang Yin sis, are you implying something?" Tang Yin was speechless, and Meng Yao couldn't help but laugh. This Shu always knew how to interrupt. However, after the laughter, everyone became silent. At the mention of Lin Yi, everyone tacitly remembered that Lin Yi hadn't contacted them for more than half a month. They didn't know what happened to Lin Yi, so they were all very worried. "Yao Yao sis, do you think Shielbro is okay?" Yushu asked worriedly. "I don't know," Meng Yao sighed, "but Lin Yi's really strong. He should be fine." Tang Yin pursed her lips and didn't say anything. At the same time, she believed that Lin Yi would come back safely. As the three of them were talking, the doorbell outside the villa suddenly rang. "Oh, is Shielbro back?" Yushu was very excited when she heard the doorbell, rushing downstairs. Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao left together, and Tang Yun was staying here, so there weren't many visitors in the villa. Lin Yi didn't bring his keys when he left, so Yushu thought that it was Lin Yi. Shu, put on your clothes. Meng Yao grabbed Shu and reminded her. Oh. Yushu quickly ran back to put on her clothes, muttering to herself, if it's just Shield Bro, I don't need to put on my clothes. I've already seen him anyway, it's not a big deal. I'll still have to see him when I become a mistress. But that Wu Chen-tian is a bit of a hindrance. Huh? Tang Yin couldn't help but laugh. But you can't always be naked. Let's see what you'll do when Linny gets sick of him. You're right. Thank you for the reminder, Tang Yin sis. Yushu nodded, feeling that it made sense. The group went downstairs, and Chen-tian went to open the door. But there were 3 uninvited guests outside, and Chen-tian didn't dare make a rash decision. He had to ask for Meng Yao's permission first. Chen-tian was someone from a noble house, after all, and Ling Shan couldn't do anything to him. Song Fox. Yushu saw that it wasn't Linny outside, but Ling Shan and the others. She wasn't happy. What are you doing here? Who are you two? Miss, please watch your language. We are here to investigate the case. Don't get yourself into trouble. Wang Hecken warned Yushu. Investigate a case? Investigate what case? Yushu paused and frowned. We're studying. We don't have time. Wang Hecken was pissed off at Yushu's words. He pointed at Yushu and turned to Ling Shan. Look at this. What kind of people are they? Like I said, they must be in cahoots with the suspect. You're the suspect. Yushu glared at Wang Hecken. All right, Shu. Meng Yao didn't want to argue with Ling Shan any longer, and she felt that there had to be something for Ling Shan to come here at this time. Could it be about Linny? Meng Yao's heart tightened at the thought. Officer Song, what's up? Can we talk about some things inside? Ling Shan nodded. All right. Meng Yao gestured for Chen-tian to open the door and let the 3 in. Ling Shan wasn't happy with Wang Hecken's forceful behavior. They hadn't even confirmed that Lin Yi was the suspect yet, and now he was giving them a suspect's accomplice. Why didn't he look at the other party? One was from House Chun, and the other was from House Wu. They wouldn't let you off if you pissed them off. They entered the living room, and Ling Shan and Wang Li, on the other hand, sat on one side of the sofa. Wang Hecken, on the other hand, sat in the middle of the sofa like he was the boss. Officer Song, what brings you here so suddenly? Meng Yao was the owner of the villa, and naturally, she was the one to speak. Chapter 1550. Yao Yao's Rebuttal, Part 1. Let me introduce myself. This is my assistant, Lu Wangli, and this is the famous private detective, Wang Hecken, very famous in both Songshan and Donghai. Ling Shan introduced them to Meng Yao and the others. So you're a detective. I thought you were Fox Song's boss. Yushu curled her lips. Fox Song, where did you find this guy? Next time you solve a case, please look for Detective Shu 007. Don't look for an arrogant idiot like him. Yushu called him Fox Song, but Wang Hecken's scolding made Ling Shan feel better. She was quite dissatisfied with this Wang Hecken, too, acting all arrogant just because he was a slightly famous detective. It was as if he could find out who the murderer was with just one sentence. It was like a cartoon. Wang Hecken was speechless. Yushu rolled her eyes and ignored him. She went to the washroom and got a basin of cold water. She sat beside Meng Yao and started soaking her feet. Wang Hecken cursed her for being rude, but he didn't say anything. He knew that Ling Shan and Wang Li weren't happy with him, and they wouldn't help him if the girl scolded him. He could only endure it. Miss Chu, we're here because of a case. There's been a lot of robberies in Songshan lately, as well as a lot of cases of harassment, assault, and molestation. The list of crimes was giving Ling Shan a headache. How could Linny be the one to do all of this? I know, but so what? Meng Yao asked. Ling Shan smiled bitterly as she looked at Lu Wangli. She didn't feel comfortable saying that the suspect was Lin Yi, so she decided to let Lu Wangli do the talking. We suspect these cases are all related to Lin. Wangli said, May I ask if Linny is home? Tang Yin heard Lu Wangli's words and immediately cried out in surprise. No, Meng Yao wasn't surprised. She didn't gasp, but she was on guard. It's related to Lin Yi? How is that possible? Lin left a long time ago, and we got a new bodyguard. Didn't you see that? With that, Meng Yao pointed at Chen-tian. Miss Chu, calm down. Of course, it's just a suspicion. We don't mean that Lin E is the suspect. Wang Li explained. Only by finding Lin E and understanding the truth can we clear Lin Yi's name, right? Why are you suspecting Lin E? He didn't do anything. Why should he be cleared? Meng Yao retorted. Miss Chu, please take a look at the evidence we have. I believe that everything else is superfluous in the face of this evidence. You'll understand why we're suspecting Lin E. Lu Wangli sighed as he took out his laptop from his backpack. Meng Yao, Yushu, and Chintan. Lu couldn't do Chu 2 of Chu 2 1. 2. Choose Chun Yao and 2 Chof Chun 2's Chun translator Lu Lin. What evidence? Meng Yao frowned. In her heart, she knew that something was wrong the moment Lu Wangli said those words. Lingshan wasn't on good terms with her and Shu, but she knew that the song girl had a good relationship with Lin E. Lingshan wouldn't have come here herself if Lin E wasn't a problem. Judging from the current situation, the police must have gotten hold of some crucial evidence before they came to visit. Meng Yao didn't mess around like Shu did, but asked the questions in a reasonable and measured manner. Lu Wangli opened his laptop and played a few surveillance videos of the bank robbery to the people present. Meng Yao, Yu Shu, and Tang Yun's eyes widened when they saw the suspect on the screen. Even Chen Tian couldn't help but scream out in shock. The person in the footage looked too much like Lin E. Everyone who lived with Lin E could tell that the person in the footage was Lin E. However, although everyone was surprised, they tacitly did not make a sound, but patiently watched the entire surveillance video. What are you trying to say? Meng Yao asked after watching the footage. Miss Chu, we're all smart people. Don't you think the person in the footage looks like someone? Wang Li asked. Who? I'm sorry, but the footage isn't very clear. I don't think it looks like anyone. Can you explain it more clearly? Meng Yao, naturally, wouldn't admit that the person in the footage was Lin E. Then take a look at the photos and the car. Lu Wangli didn't say much, but opened the photos taken by the photographer and the photos of the car, and showed them to the girls. After looking at the photos, Meng Yao knew that there was no point in denying it anymore. The photos were extremely clear, and the license plate of the car was clearly shown. Even a speck of mud on the car could be seen clearly. What are you trying to say? Are you trying to tell me that this person is Lin E and this car belongs to Lin E? Meng Yao asked. Yes, Miss Chu. We suspect that the suspect is Lin E. This Land Rover is the car Lin E drove. The car plate number, the car model, and the suspect's physical characteristics all match. Wang Li said, Oh, but you've overlooked one thing. Lin E isn't in Songshan right now. He left a long time ago, Meng Yao said faintly. Everything looked similar, but Meng Yao felt that this person wasn't Lin E. Putting aside the fact that Lin E was now a shareholder of Pengzhan Industries, Lin Yi's own medical company was also making money every day. Was there a need to rob it? Besides, he was flirting with girls? What kind of joke was this? He had a beautiful girlfriend at home, and he didn't flirt with her. He also had a concubine waiting for him to flirt with. He didn't want to flirt with her either. At the very least, he could flirt with himself. So, Meng Yao didn't believe that Lin E went out to flirt with girls. He's not in Songshan. That's what everyone thinks. But you guys don't know if he's really here or not, right? Wang Li explained. So, can you guys contact him? I can't, but I'm sure that he's not the suspect. First, he's the second biggest shareholder of Pengzhan Industries. In other words, other than my dad, he's the richest person in the company. Meng Yao explained for Lin E. Chapter 1551. Yao Yao's Rebuttal, Part 2. Besides, he's the biggest shareholder of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. Do you guys think he needs money? Does he have a motive? Also, you guys say that he's flirting with girls, but do you think he's blind? We're at home, and he's flirting with us. Flirting with other people? Do you think that's possible? Meng Yao continued. Yeah. We're all waiting in line to be flirted with. Yushu nodded and added. Lingshan was speechless. She wanted to scold Yushu for being so shameless, but since they were on Lin Yi's side, Lingshan didn't say anything. If it weren't for her identity, Lingshan would have said that she was waiting in line too. If he's a pervert, then it's hard to say. Wang Hecken, who hadn't said anything all this time, suddenly spoke up. According to my analysis, this criminal has to have a problem. Otherwise, why would he attack innocent people after robbing a bank and a gold shop? How much money do these innocent people have? So, he's definitely a problematic person. Yushu thought, "You're the problematic one." She picked up the foot washing water and pretended to pour it away as she walked to Wang Hecken's side. She accidentally slipped, and the entire basin of foot washing water poured onto Wang Hecken's head. And so, Wang Hecken became a drowned rat. Wang Hecken was about to explode, but Yushu said, "Oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't on purpose." Wang Hecken was speechless. She said it wasn't on purpose, and if he were to get mad, wouldn't that make him seem petty? Plus, she was just a high school girl. It wouldn't be fun if he held a grudge against her. Some people are not clear-headed, always saying weird things. Pour cold water on them, and they'll wake up, Chen Tian said mockingly. He had been suppressing his anger for a long time. This person actually dared to go against his boss Lin Yi. "You, what did you say?" Wang Hecken raged. Bang! Chen Tian slapped the iron flower stand beside the sofa, turning it into a pile of scrap metal. He then looked at Wang Hecken lazily. "Are you talking to me?" "Officer Song, look, this person is threatening me with violence." Wang Hecken was infuriated. He didn't expect Chen Tian to be this strong. If that hit him on the head, would he still be alive? Threatened? Can't you see that I'm cultivating? I'm the heir of House Wu, and I have to practice iron fist arts every day. It's fine if you don't appreciate it, but you're saying I'm threatening you? Is there something wrong with your head? Chen Tian said with disdain. Chen Tian's words made Wang Hecken speechless. He didn't know what to say and could only shut his mouth. "All right, Xiao Wu, you don't have to say anymore. Let's listen to Officer Song." Meng Yao waved her hand. She needed to send Ling Shan and the others away as soon as possible and discuss with her dad what to do about this. Meng Yao didn't believe that Lin Yi did this at all. It didn't make sense at all. "Miss Chu, we just want to confirm, when did Lin Yi leave? Did he contact you guys after he left?" Ling Shan nodded. "When did he leave? You don't know?" Meng Yao looked at Ling Shan oddly. "Didn't he say goodbye to you before? Besides, you should know what he's going to do. How could he make a call in such a remote place?" Ling Shan couldn't help but nod. Indeed, when Lin Yi left, he said goodbye to her and Yutian. Besides, she knew what Lin Yi was going to do. Asking this question was unnecessary. "Officer Song, it seems like you really do have a close relationship with the suspect." Wang Hecken said in a weird tone, "Please know your place. Don't do something that you'll regret later. You know, I'm watching you, and I can report your every move to your superiors." Ling Shan was pissed off by Wang Hecken. She took a deep breath. "Detective Wang, I don't need you to remind me about my business." "Oof." Wang Hecken smiled coldly and didn't say anything else. But Meng Yao's words reminded Ling Shan of a crucial problem. When did the first bank robbery happen? Did it happen when she, Yu Qian, and Lin Yi were raiding the tomb together? Or did it happen after the day they parted ways at the entrance of the tomb? In the tomb, there wasn't any sunlight, and their phones and other electronic devices fell into the abyss along with their luggage, shattering into pieces. They didn't have any sense of time in the tomb, since they didn't know when to rest or when to continue walking. After leaving the tomb, Ling Shan and Yu Qian realized that all their communication devices were broken or lost, and they couldn't contact HQ either. They had to walk to the nearest town, completely forgetting the concept of time. But if Ling Shan could find a way to confirm when she broke up with Lin Yi, wouldn't she be able to clear Lin Yi's name? But the tomb robbery was a secret, and she couldn't tell Lu Wangli and the others about it. Ling Shan could only discuss it with Yu Tian and see if he remembered the time. Of course, there were two more important persons, Xiaoke and Elder Yu, but Ling Shan couldn't get in touch with them directly. How about this? Since Lin Yi left, did he drive his car away? Lu Wangli knew that asking about Lin Yi's whereabouts wouldn't get him anywhere, and from the looks of it, Ling Shan didn't know any less than Meng Yao and the others, so he decided to ask about something else instead. "No." Meng Yao shook her head. He's driving someone else's car. He left it in the garage below Xiao Xiao's house. It might have been stolen. Then, do you have the keys to the garage? Lu Wangli asked. Yes. Meng Yao sighed before nodding. All right. Can you come with us to the garage to look at the car? If it really was a fake car, then some of the details would have to be different. That way we can clear Lin Yi's name, Lu Wangli said. Sure. Meng Yao hesitated before agreeing. Shall we leave now? Yes, now. Lu Wangli said, the sooner we go, the sooner we can solve the problem. Chapter 1552. The same shoe. Tang Yun, you guys stay at home. I'll go alone. You guys don't need to come with me. Meng Yao thought about it and decided to go alone. Tang Yun didn't know much about the world, and Shu was always causing trouble. She might as well go by herself. Oh, okay. Yushu understood the importance of this and nodded obediently. Tang Yun, on the other hand, didn't know what to do. She only hoped that Lin Yi would be fine, but she couldn't be like Meng Yao, arguing with Lingshan and arguing with reason. So when Meng Yao asked to go alone, Tang Yun only hesitated for a moment before agreeing. Meng Yao took the garage key and got into the police car with Lingshan and the others, heading to Xiao Xiao's place. Lin Yi cleaned the Rover and put it in Xiao Xiao's garage. Meng Yao and Yushu both had their own cars, so they didn't need to drive Lin Yi's. They arrived at Xiao Xiao's place, and Lingshan and Meng Yao got out of the car. They opened the garage door, and there was indeed a Rover parked there. It's here. The car shouldn't have been moved from here. Do you guys still think that this is the car the suspect drove? Meng Yao asked. We can't say for sure yet. We need to check the details first. With that, Lu Wangli took out his camera and started taking pictures of the Rover from all angles. But when Lu Wangli pointed at a patch of paint on the Rover, Lingshan's face changed slightly. In a photo taken by the photographer, there was a scratch mark on the same part of the Land Rover. Captain Song, what do you think? Lu Wangli smiled bitterly. Are there any surveillance cameras in the area? Can we see if we can get the ones around the garage? Lingshan frowned. I don't think so. This area isn't closed off. It's open like a park. I don't see any cameras or anything like that. Lu Wangli shook his head. Lingshan didn't know what to say. Things are getting more and more complicated. She didn't believe that it was Lin Yi, but all the evidence pointed to Lin Yi. If it wasn't Lin Yi, then there was only one possibility. Someone was trying to frame Lin Yi. Miss Chu, please take a look. There are scratch marks on this car, and here's the suspect's car. It has the same scratch marks. Lu Wangli smiled bitterly as he pulled out a photo from his laptop, letting Meng Yao compare it with the paint marks on the car. Meng Yao was taken aback when she saw the picture Lu Wangli showed her. She never would have thought that the car in the picture would be the same as Lin Yi's car, even down to the minute details. Miss Chu, we still can't determine whether these two cars are the same car, but from the looks of it, I'm pretty sure they are, Lu Wangli said with a bitter smile. I'll send the photos to the technical department later to verify them, but please be mentally prepared. Maybe someone is trying to frame Lin Yi. Meng Yao said suddenly. Lin Yi has a lot of enemies. Could it be these people? That's hard to say. We'll have to wait until we find Lin Yi, Lu Wangli said. Thank you for your cooperation. We'll leave the car with you for now, but we might ask you to come and take it away for identification. Sure. Meng Yao nodded. Her heart was in a mess. She didn't say anything, but the evidence was all on Lin. Lingshan drove Meng Yao back to the villa and brought the three back to the police station. Lingshan's heart was heavy as well. After returning to the police station, she told Lu Wangli to hand over the evidence to the tech department and drove to the hospital to check with Yu Qian on the time to go to the tomb. At the same time, Jiang Wen's #1 follower, Scorpion's phone, rang. Boss, I've done what you told me to, trying to push all the blame on Lin Yi, but the police don't seem to believe me, especially that Song Lingshan. She's really stubborn. Do you want me to go talk to their superiors? The person on the other side of the phone said, I have a lot of authority here. I believe that Lingshan's boss will tell her to leave. No need. If you tell her to leave, people will get suspicious. Scorpion said, just do your best. Got it, boss. The person on the phone said, don't use that Land Rover anymore. The police have found Lin Yi's car. Got it, Scorpion replied. I'll get a new car. Okay, boss. I'll contact you whenever I have news. But my pay. The person on the phone asked about his pay at the end. Don't worry, I've already sent you $5 million to the account you gave me. Once this is done, the remaining $5 million will be yours. Scorpion said, but you have to keep us updated. No problem, boss. You know that I'll work for whoever pays me the most. The person on the phone said. Scorpion hung up and walked to Jiang Wen's room. Just as he opened the door, he saw Jiang Wen lying on the floor, howling at the ceiling lamp. Master Wen, you. Scorpion jumped in fright. He looked at Jiang Wen with a weird expression. He didn't know what was going on. Oh, woo. Jiang Wen got up from the ground when he saw Scorpion. He said calmly, oh, I'm working out. It's a type of exercise. Don't be surprised. Oh, Scorpion nodded. He didn't think much about it. Master Wen, our plan is partially successful, but that Lingshan doesn't seem to believe us. Humph, I didn't expect the police to believe us at all. If we succeed, then we'll succeed. If not, then we won't lose anything. We'll just make Lin Yi suffer a little. It'll be best if we can ruin his reputation. Jiang Wen said, our real goal is to make the police focus on Lin Yi. We'll retreat safely and move on to the next step of our money-making plan. Chapter 1553. Worrying over nothing. I see, Masterin, you're really thoughtful. Scorpion said in admiration. Of course. Jiang Wen nodded proudly. In fact, he wanted to put Lin Yi in jail, but after thinking about it, he realized that there might still be some flaws in the evidence. Since that was the case, he might as well give up on it. His main goal was to divert the police's attention. Where's the professor? Get him here. I'll ask him about the progress of his research. The professor is in the lab, but he said that if you ask, I'll tell you that his research is at a crucial stage. If he succeeds, he can raise a person's strength to mystic for a short period of time. This is very important for us robber houses. Scorpion said, not bad. This professor is a genius. Jiang Wen nodded, satisfied. We've basically taken all the money in Songzhan. Next, we'll move to Donghai. There are quite a lot of rich people there. Scorpion, you need to be careful this time. Don't expose yourself at the critical moment. Use that guy to take the blame. Then, we'll go to Donghai and continue our work. Don't worry, Master Wen. I'll be careful. Scorpion nodded. Meng Yao was a little worried after returning to the villa. Tang Yun and Yushu knew that something was wrong when they saw her like that. Chintan, on the other hand, quickly closed the door and stood at the side of the living room with a serious expression. Meng Yao took out her phone. It had the detailed pictures of the car taken in Xiao Xiao's garage, as well as the pictures taken by the photographer. She pushed the phone in front of Tang Yun and Yushu and told everyone about what happened in the garage. That's the situation. What do you guys think we should do? But I think that the possibility of Lin Yi being the culprit isn't high. Someone must be trying to frame him. Yeah, you're right. This is definitely not Lin Yi's doing. Someone must be trying to frame him. Tang Yun also chose to believe Lin Yi unconditionally. That's right. Shield Bro's playing the role of a robber at home. I'll do anything you want. Why would I want to commit a crime? Yushu, on the other hand, was a staunch supporter of Lin Yi. Yushu's words made Meng Yao and Tang Yun's nervous faces smile. This Yushu was really a cheerful person. No matter how worried they were, she could always make them relax. Yao, you know that I've never encountered something like this before. I really don't have any ideas. Tang Yun smiled bitterly. I feel like I'm useless. I can't help Lin Yi at all. Don't say that, Yin Yun. Actually, I can't do anything. Meng Yao sighed. Bringing it out for everyone to discuss is actually a last resort. Can I say something? Chen Tian suddenly raised his hand and asked. Of course, go ahead. Meng Yao nodded and gestured for Chen Tian to speak his mind. Sisters-in-law, I think you guys are making trouble for yourselves. Chen Tian couldn't take it anymore after listening for a long time. Making trouble for myself? Meng Yao paused. As for Chen Tian calling them sisters-in-law in private, she was already used to it. Since Shu and Tang Yun looked so happy, she could only suffer for it. Yeah, Lin Yi is such a powerful person. How could he be framed? Chen Tian said confidently. Looking at what Boss Lin Yi has done, didn't those bastards still fall under Boss Lin Yi's feet in the end? Even someone as arrogant and powerful as me has to bow down to Boss Lin Yi in the end. So, I feel that whoever framed Lin Yi won't succeed. Not only will they fail, but they'll also get beaten up by Boss Lin Yi sooner or later. Ugh. Meng Yao was speechless after hearing Qintian's words. But what he said wasn't unreasonable. Indeed, no matter what kind of trouble Lin Yi faced, he'd always solve it in the end. He'd never let Meng Yao down. As a result, Lin Yi himself wasn't worried this time, but they were worried instead. Weren't they worrying for nothing? I think, sisters-in-law, you guys should focus on your schoolwork. As for these things, when Boss Lin Yi comes back, Lin Yi can take care of it. You guys don't have to worry about it. Qin Tian said confidently. You're right, we're thinking too much. Lin Yi should be able to take care of it. Meng Yao nodded. Shoo! Yin, let's go upstairs and study. Tang Yin and Yushu's eyes lit up at Qin Tian's words. Their worries were indeed unnecessary. Ling Shan went straight to Yu Tian's sick room. In order to shock everyone during the noble house meeting, Yu Tian followed Lin Yi's orders and pretended to be heavily injured in the hospital. Yu Tian was surprised to see Ling Shan. Ling Shan, you don't have to come if you're busy with work. I'll be fine here. Yu Tian bro, I'm here because something big happened in Songshan recently. Ling Shan said as she told Yu Tian about the recent cases. She even told him about Lin Yi being the suspect. Lin Yi? Impossible. Yu Tian shook his head subconsciously. Tell me the time you were in the tomb? My equipment is broken as well, but I brought a mini recording pen with me in order to collect evidence. I've been working since we entered the tomb. You can use the length of the recording to calculate the number of days we've been in the tomb. From there, you can calculate where Lin Yi was at that time. That's great. Ling Shan was excited. If it weren't for the fact that Yu Tian was a guy, she would have kissed him. This evidence came at the right time. Yu Tian passed the pen to Ling Shan. He knew that she was eager to clear Lin Yi's name, so he didn't ask her to stay. He only told her to let him know if there was any good news. By the time Ling Shan got back to the police station, the technical department's report was out as well. From the analysis of the photos, the two cars should be the same car, and all the details matched perfectly. Of course, there was the possibility that it was faked. Chapter 1554. On the way home, the firewolves were full of talented people, and faking it wasn't hard at all. It was still possible to hide it from technology. But Ling Shan didn't care about that. She locked herself in her office as soon as she got back to the police station, calculating the time with Yu Tian's recording pen. Soon, the results came out. The day they walked out of the tomb was the day after the first bank robbery in Songshan. With this powerful evidence in their hands, everything else was meaningless. Ling Shan was very excited. She didn't waste a second and called Huaijuan. Ling Shan, how's the situation over there? Huaijuan knew that the task force was suspicious of Lin Yi, so he dropped everything and drove back to Songshan. He was almost at the police station now. Director Yang, I've got a key piece of evidence that proves Lin Yi's innocence. Where are you? Can you come back to the police station for a bit? Ling Shan asked. I'll be there soon. Wait for me in the office. Huaijun said. As expected, Ling Shan didn't have to wait long before Huaijun came knocking. Only his superiors knew about the tomb raiding, and Ling Shan's subordinates didn't know about it. Ling Shan wasn't sure if she could tell her subordinates about it, so she had to discuss it with Huaijun first. As for the archaeologists investigating the tomb, Yu Qian had already said that they shouldn't do it right now. The dangers in the tomb were beyond imagination, and it was very likely that they'd die. Director Yang, this is the complete recording of me, Yu Qian, and Lin Yi entering the tomb together. With this, we can deduce that Lin Yi was with us in the tomb when the first bank robbery happened. He didn't commit the crime. Ling Shan said, Yu Qian and I are the best witnesses. Oh, Huaijun paused and nodded. That's right. With this, we can clear Lin Yi's name for now. But things aren't that simple. Show us the evidence first. The tomb robbery case is basically closed, and we can announce it now. We'll start the trial for Old Hay and the others in a few days. All right. Ling Shan nodded and quickly called Wang Li, Wang Hecken, and the others to her office for a meeting. Once everyone was present, Ling Shan threw out this crucial piece of evidence. The recording in Ling Shan had become Lin Yi's alibi. From this, it could be concluded that the first bank robbery wasn't committed by Lin Yi. What does this mean? After listening to Ling Shan's evidence, Wang Hecken spoke in a neutral tone. From start to finish, the suspect was wearing a mask. I think that the first robbery might be a trap set up by Lin Yi, using your and Yu Tian's identities to create an alibi for him. Ling Shan was speechless. This Wang Hecken really dared to think of anything. But she had to admit that Wang Hecken's suspicions were very plausible. Ling Shan said, "The possibility of your suspicions is too small. Let's not talk about how Lin Yi could find someone like him to do this. But if Lin Yi really could find someone that strong, why would he disguise himself as him? Wouldn't that be looking for trouble for himself? It'd be great if he could get someone he didn't know to rob the bank. Didn't I say it before? This suspect might very well be a psychopath, so his actions aren't something normal people can understand." Wang Hecken said, "He's using his own appearance to provoke us. If he's not afraid of exposing his identity, why would he need an alibi? Wouldn't that be an unnecessary move?" Ling Shan asked back. "That's why I said it before. He's a psychopath, and he wants to provoke the police. That's why he's trying to confuse you guys." Wang Hecken said, "This way, you guys will fall into the reverse thinking of the suspect. Even you guys think that he can't be the suspect anymore, and that someone framed him. That means he's achieved his goal. And what do you think he can find someone who looks like Lin Yi? That's even easier to explain. If you guys think that it's someone else trying to frame Lin Yi, then why can't Lin Yi find someone who looks like him to impersonate him?" Ling Shan didn't know what to say, but she couldn't refute what Wang Hecken said. The possibility was small, but it didn't mean it didn't exist. "What I said makes sense, right?" Wang Hecken said proudly. "Don't forget, I'm a famous detective. No matter how cunning a suspect is, he can't escape my eyes. So you're saying that Lin Yi is the suspect?" Ling Shan asked. "I can only say that the evidence you've shown shows that Lin Yi is abnormal. It also confirms that the possibility of Lin Yi being the suspect is 50%. Now it's 80%. Wang Hecken said, "I suggest that we start putting a bounty on Lin Yi. It's still too early to put a bounty on him. We can't do it without concrete evidence." Huaijun said, "We don't even know what the suspect looks like, and we're putting a bounty on Lin Yi. It's too reckless. It's just a suggestion." Wang Hecken said, there was nothing else he could do since Huaijun had already made the decision. When all the evidence in Songshan started pointing against Lin Yi returned to the inn. What surprised Lin Yi was that Qikuan didn't leave. He was waiting for Lin Yi in the inn. Lin Yi had just reached the inn square when Qikuan flew out to greet him. It seemed like he'd been paying attention to Lin Yi's movements every day. It must have been hard on him. "Brother Ling, you're finally back. I've been so worried. If it weren't for the power of the Ice Palace, I would have gone to look for you," Qikuan said passionately to Lin Yi. "Huh?" Lin Yi smiled faintly, naturally not believing this bullshit. "Then it must have been hard on you. Why did you wait for me?" "It's nothing. I heard about your real identity." Qikuan lowered his voice. He didn't know if the Ice Palace knew who Lin Yi was, so he called Lin Yi Brother Ling in public. Chapter 1555. Experiment Success. "I'm going back to Donghai, and you're definitely going back to Songshan. We're going the same way, so let's keep each other company." "Oh, right, Brother Ling, where's your girlfriend?" "She's in the Ice Palace for treatment." Lin Yi didn't explain too much to Qikuan. This person wasn't someone Lin Yi could open his heart to just yet, so Lin Yi didn't want to reveal too much to him. He only treated him as a normal friend. "I see. Then congratulations, Brother Ling," Qikuan said quickly. "Yeah, nothing much. Let's pack up and go back." Lin Yi didn't want to talk about this. "All right, I'm all packed up, ready to go anytime." "What about you, Brother Ling? Don't you want to rest for the night?" Qikuan asked. "Nah, I don't need a rest. Let's go." Lin Yi was thinking about his family. Xiao Xiao's situation was over for now, and all that was left was the exams. If he made it in time, he'd be able to take them. The noble house meeting was just around the corner, and Lin Yi had to go with Yutian. What worried Lin Yi, however, was that he didn't find the opportunity to break through to Earth class. Perhaps it was because he just broken through to Mystic Late Phase, and that was why he wasn't even at Mystic Late Phase peak. If Lin Yi didn't become an Earth class, then there was no way he'd be able to make both Yuqian and Lingshan become Earth class. Before Lin Yi became an Earth class, he'd only be able to make Mystic Early Phase Masters. After checking out at the inn, Lin Yi and Chiquan drove away, heading towards Songzhan. In order to track down the culprit, Lingshan had sent more police officers to guard Xiao Xiao's garage. The goal was that as long as the culprit came to get the car, the police would be able to spot him. But, to Lingshan's disappointment, the culprit seemed to have disappeared these days, not appearing in front of the public again. He didn't continue to commit crimes, and he didn't come to the garage to get the car. Of course, Jiang Wen had already gotten Scorpion to get rid of the disguised rover. The reason why 01 didn't continue to commit crimes was because he was undergoing Professor Yin's biochemical experiment. Professor Yin was now able to increase the potential of the test subject to the physical strength of a Mystic Late Phase peak in an instant. Of course, it was only for an instant, but it could only last for 3 to 5 minutes. Under normal circumstances, it didn't need to be activated. Master One, I made the medicine into a capsule and put it in 01's mouth. The moment he meets an undefeatable enemy, 01 will automatically carry out the hypnotist's second order, which is to bite open the capsule. This way, 01's strength will instantly reach Mystic Late Phase peak, but the duration is only 3 to 5 minutes. The effects of the medicine aren't stable, so we can only determine an approximate range. The professor reported quickly after the experiment was successful. Not bad. Jiang Wen praised after hearing the professor's words. That's already pretty good. I was worried that the police would ask for a master from the Special Investigation Department to help with the capture of 01, and that he wouldn't be able to escape. If he were to be captured by the police, then the plan would be a complete failure. As long as 01 can get away in a split second, there won't be a problem. There's another piece of good news. The professor said, 01's maximum strength is Mystic Late Phase peak, but under normal circumstances, I've increased it to Mystic Early Phase with the drug, and the effect lasts for 2 hours. Not bad. There's improvement. He was only able to maintain Golden Class for that long before, but now he's Mystic. Another step forward. And as long as we can maintain 01's strength to Mystic Late Phase peak, then we'll be able to rob the noble houses. Huh? Jiang Wen said, satisfied. Right, you said that you've made the drug into capsules. Can you prepare some for me, so I can carry them with me? Wouldn't I become a Mystic Late Phase peak physical practitioner then? I'm afraid not. The professor shook his head. Master One, the drug we're using now has a huge side effect. It's very damaging to the brain, and after taking it, the person would slowly turn into an idiot, only able to move under the hypnotist's orders. They'd lose all sense of self. That's scary? Then I don't want it. Jiang Wen jumped. What a joke. Wouldn't that make him a biochemical zombie? Don't worry too much, Master One. I've been working on it as well. When the professor left, he took most of the data with him, and I can only restore it slowly. But don't you worry. We'll definitely be able to make you a master in the future. The professor said. That's great. Jiang Wen fantasized about the moment he became a master himself. Didn't Meng Yao like to have bodyguards? After he killed Lin Yi, he'd volunteer to be Meng Yao's bodyguard, and he'd be able to get his hands on the beauty. At the thought, Jiang Wen felt a surge of excitement. Right, let 01 continue with his crimes. The bigger the better. It'd be best if the public gets angry. That way, even if the suspect isn't Lin Yi in the end, people would still hate Lin Yi. All right, Master One. I'll arrange for him to continue, but don't drive this time. Have him ride a motorcycle. Scorpion said. It'd be best if he's ruthless and show his face so the police can lock onto him. Jiang Wen said. All right, no problem. Scorpion nodded. Boss Lin Yi, the snow's too heavy in front. Let's find a place to hide. Chikuin stopped his car and stuck his head out, yelling at Lin Yi's car. Chikuin was a mystic and had a lot of pure chi. Lin Yi didn't need to roll down the window to hear what he was saying. Lin Yi stopped his car as well. The snow was indeed heavy, and the visibility was very low. He couldn't see what was ahead at all, and so Chikuin volunteered to be the vanguard, leading the way for Lin Yi with the lights on. Then let's rest for a while. We'll find a place to hide. Lin Yi said. There wouldn't be any obstacles, pedestrians, or cars on the road, but driving like this was still quite dangerous. There's a cave not too far. We saw it before and marked it on the map. Boss Lin Yi, shall we go? Chikuin asked. Didn't think it'd come in handy now. Chapter 1556. Chapter 1555. Lin Yi's Master. All right, lead the way. Lin Yi nodded. All right, Lin Yi boss, just follow me. Chikuin said as he drove towards the cave. The car had a GPS system, and while they couldn't see clearly, they could still find the general direction. It was an endless snowfield, after all, and they were both driving an off-road car, so there shouldn't be any danger. Lin Yi followed. When Lin Yi came, the snow wasn't this heavy, but on the third day Lin Yi arrived, it started to snow, and it never stopped. It was still like this, so the two had to stop every now and then. As expected, with Chikuin leading the way, the two came to a cave. Chikuin took some camping equipment and got off the car, entering the cave with Lin Yi. There aren't any dead branches around here, otherwise we could pick them up and start a fire. Lin Yi said after looking around. No need, Lin Yi boss, I have a quick heating fire here, we can use it right away. Chikuin said as he took out a quick heating fire from his luggage, putting it in front of Lin Yi. Lin Yi didn't know whether to cry or laugh. This Chikuin had brought so many things with him. Was he here for training or camping? You sure have everything, Lin Yi said. That's right. There's even a sleeping bag. Lin Yi boss, let's spend the night in the cave. Chikuin said as he opened his luggage. There was indeed a sleeping bag inside. Lin Yi was speechless. I don't need it. I'll just sit on the ground and train. That works too. Then I don't need it. We're both practitioners. We don't need to enjoy ourselves. Chikuin didn't want to, but Lin Yi didn't need a sleeping bag, so he didn't either. I'm not enjoying it. I'm just worried that something unexpected might happen. It's not easy to make a move in the sleeping bag. Lin Yi smiled bitterly and shook his head. If an enemy attacks, then you can only wait to be beaten up in your sleeping bag. That's true, but this is the wilderness. There aren't even any animals. Where would there be enemies? Chikuin shook his head. Don't talk, someone's coming. Lin Yi suddenly said. Chikuin paused and was about to ask if Lin Yi boss was joking when he heard heavy footsteps coming closer. Someone was really coming. Chikuin jumped in fright. Who's here? I don't know, but this person's true chi is thick. I can hear it from his footsteps. Lin Yi frowned. His heart was a little vigilant. The newcomer was undoubtedly a cultivator. But Lin Yi didn't know why this person was releasing his chi when he walked, giving off a domineering aura. Did he notice Lin Yi and Chikuin, or did he have other intentions? Another practitioner? Chikuin tensed up subconsciously. Don't tell me it's the Ice Palace people. Why would they come? Lin Yi said faintly. Don't talk. Let's listen first. They might not be here for us. All right. Chikuin nodded. But this time they were a little unlucky. The footsteps were getting closer and closer, as if they were coming towards the cave. He's coming. Be careful. Lin Yi, on the other hand, wasn't too worried. The jade on his body didn't send out any signals, so they weren't in danger yet. That person might be overbearing, but he might not be looking for them. Lin Yi boss, are we going to make a move? Chikuin asked worriedly. No need. Let's watch first. Lin Yi shook his head. As they spoke, the footsteps got nearer, evidently close to the cave. Yeah, there's a cave here. Let me check it out. Suddenly, the person outside the cave spoke, his voice deep and old, tired as if he hadn't rested for a long time. Chikuin shivered. This person was getting closer, and his strength could be sensed by Chikuin and Lin Yi. It was a Sky Class Late Phase Peak. Lin Yi boss, Sky Class Late Phase Peak. Chikuin's scalp was going numb. This person is revealing his strength. What's he trying to do? Not sure, let's watch first. Lin Yi had fought with the Sect Master a couple of times in the Ice Palace, and he wasn't as afraid of Sky Class as before. But as to what this person's goal was, Lin Yi didn't know yet. Was he just passing by, or did he have other plans? Why would he look around when he found a cave? Finally, the person walked to the entrance of the cave and saw the fire inside, as well as Lin Yi and Chikuin. He paused and couldn't help but gasp. Lin Yi and Chikuin, on the other hand, saw the person's face. He was around 50 or 60 years old, with messy hair and tattered clothes. But he was a Sky Class, so it wasn't easy to tell his actual age. From the way he dressed, he looked like a tramp or an old madman. He didn't look like a Sky Class at all. The man entered the cave and blinked as he looked at Lin Yi. Lin Yi was about to ask when a man charged at Lin Yi like a madman. Lin Yi was shocked and quickly channeled the art of dragon mastery, using pure chi to protect his body. But how could Lin Yi dodge a Sky Class speed? The man reached Lin Yi in an instant, grabbing onto Lin Yi's shoulders. Just when Lin Yi was about to resist, the man called out, "Disciple, my good disciple, I've finally found you." Lin Yi paused, not knowing what the man meant. But at the same time, Lin Yi let out a breath of relief. The man had unleashed his pure chi, but he didn't seem like he was going to attack Lin Yi. Even his hands on Lin Yi's shoulders didn't use any strength at all. "Good disciple, I knew you'd be able to avoid them," the man said excitedly, "but it's been 20 years. Why didn't you come find me? It's been so hard for me to find you." Lin Yi frowned. Hearing this, Lin Yi was completely sure that this weirdo was a madman. He seemed to think that Lin Yi was his disciple, but he said that it had been more than 20 years, so his disciple must have been separated 20 years ago. If that was the case, then he must have gotten the wrong person. 20 years ago, Lin Yi wasn't even born yet. How could he be his disciple? You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.